How did the Avatar franchise go from peaceful air temples, flying bison, and cabbage merchants
My cabbages! You're gonna pay for this!
to political corruption, underground bending fight clubs, and collapsing buildings? All in the span of 70 years. Yep. As per high request, today we're covering the entire story of the Legend of Korra, which takes place about 70 years after the events of Avatar: The Last Airbender. After defeating Fire Lord Ozai, Aang and Fire Lord Zuko helped create Republic City, a massive metropolis where benders and non-benders from all four nations could live together peacefully, which did not exactly go as planned. Now, at the center of all this chaos is Korra, the latest reincarnation of the Avatar. Unlike Aang, who was calm, spiritual, and avoided conflict whenever possible, Korra is the exact opposite. She's confident, stubborn, aggressive, and ready to throw hands at a moment's notice. The series ran from 2012 to 2014 for 4 seasons, quickly became one of the most debated entries in the Avatar universe, mainly for its darker and political themes. Some people appreciated the later seasons so much that they thought that it rivaled the original series, but other people took issue with the slow pacing in the first 2 seasons. Anyway, along the way, Korra builds her own version of Team Avatar. You'll meet a few familiar faces from the old generation, but also a whole new cast of allies, villains, and some weirdos. So before we jump in, here are the key players you need to know. Starting with Tenzin, Aang and Katara's youngest son and the last airbending master whose entire existence will soon turn into stress management thanks to Korra. Then we have Mako, the hot and emotionally unavailable firebender who looks like he hasn't slept peacefully in years. Bolin, Mako's younger brother. He's got golden retriever energy but zero intellect at all. Asami Sato, debatably one of the best characters in the series, a genius engineer, billionaire heiress, and the only person in this friend group with an actual functioning brain. Then we have Lin Beifong, the metal-bending chief of police and daughter of Toph Beifong. I mean, you can imagine the crankiness. Now, the Avatar's duty is to maintain balance between the physical and spiritual worlds, but all you have to do is maintain balance between your couch and grab some snacks for the adventure that we're about to get into.
Fire, air, water.
Okay, so the series begins with Chapter 1, Welcome to Republic City. Our members, the White Lotus, an ancient society dedicated to protecting the Avatar, arrive at a small compound in the Southern Water Tribe after hearing that the new Avatar has been found. Now at this point, the White Lotus has probably spent years chasing random rumors from people claiming to be or have found the Avatar. So understandably, these old men are pretty exhausted. The couple welcomes the men inside, and the White Lotus explains that every lead they've investigated so far has turned out to be false. But this mother proudly tells them that maybe their search is finally over and calls her daughter Korra.
You gotta deal with it!
Yeah, that's the greatest Avatar introduction of all time. At just 4 years old, Korra can already bend water, earth, and fire with almost no training at all. Meanwhile, Aang spent half his childhood trying not to fall off a penguin sled. Fast forward to age 17. Korra has now mastered the 3 elements, which means there's only one element left for her to learn. This is air. For that, she needs Master Tenzin, the only airbending master left in the world. The White Lotus reminds Korra not to get ahead of herself, because while she's physically gifted, she still struggles with the spiritual side of being the Avatar. Kind of the opposite of Aang. Korra insists that Tenzin is the only person who can help her spiritually, since meditation and inner peace really is not her thing. The society debates it for a moment, but Katara steps in and says that Tenzin is exactly who Korra needs, so the White Lotus agrees. Completely overwhelmed with excitement, Korra rushes outside to celebrate with Naga, her giant polar bear dog, and probably her only friend after spending most of her life locked away training. The next morning, Tenzin finally arrives at the Southern Water Tribe along with his 3 kids, Jinora, Iki, and Milo, and his wife, Pema, who's expecting their 4th child. Within seconds, you can already tell these are the grandkids of Aang. Korra is obviously thrilled because this means her airbending training can finally begin, except Tenzin is not here to stay. He explains that Republic City is dealing with growing unrest and political instability, so he has to return home the very next day, which means Korra's training will have to wait, probably for months. Korra does not take this news well. She begs Tenzin to let her come to Republic City with him, arguing that she's more than ready to begin her training, but Tenzin refuses. According to him, the city's too dangerous. Korra still isn't prepared for the outside world. After Tenzin leaves, Korra decides she's done waiting around the South Pole and plans to secretly leave for Republic City at night. As she's about to leave, Katara pays her a visit. Instead of stopping her, she encourages Korra to leave, since it's her destiny and the world needs its next Avatar. After saying goodbye to her parents and packing up Naga, Korra boards a ship and officially begins her journey to the city. When Korra finally arrives, she and us are blown away by the advancements in the city. There are massive bridges, skyscrapers, busy roads packed with cars, and airships across the skyline. She starts making her way around the city, and she stumbles across a massive crowd of non-benders who are protesting against benders and the growing inequality in Republic City. The protesters urge urged people to join the Equalists, a movement led by a mysterious masked man named Amon, claiming that benders have been abusing their power for years while non-benders are left defenseless and ignored. Naturally, Korra lasts about 5 seconds before arguing with them. She insists that they're just blaming benders for no reason and then storms off toward Air Temple Island to find Tenzin. But almost immediately, she witnesses something that proves the protesters might actually have a point. A group of firebenders are harassing a non-bending shopkeeper and demanding money. Now, technically, she could ignore this and keep walking, but that would go against literally every Avatar rulebook ever written. So Korra steps in and confronts them.
Or else?
Or else what, hoodlum?
And like most criminals with painfully fragile egos, these guys take serious offense to being embarrassed by a teenage girl. What they don't realize yet, this girl is the Avatar. Then the next 30 seconds, Korra, of course, absolutely demolishes all 3 of them using her earth, water, and firebending skills, saving the shopkeeper. Fortunately for her, Republic City has police. Not just any police. They have metal-bending police. She tries to escape, but eventually she gets arrested. Or more like airlifted, like an escaped zoo animal. At police headquarters, Korra is brought before Chief Lin Beifong, daughter of Toph Beifong, probably the scariest woman in Republic City. Lin begins interrogating her while Korra sits there with exactly one defense prepared.
It's my duty to help people. See, I'm the Avatar.
Lin argues that being the Avatar does not exempt Korra from the law, or the several shops that she destroyed 5 minutes ago. Before Korra can protest, Tenzin arrives at the station, and judging by the look on his face, he's not happy to see her there. He quickly works out a deal with Lin, and promises that Korra will immediately return to the South Pole. Surprisingly, Lin agrees, so Korra and Tenzin leave the headquarters together. But yeah, these two definitely got off on the wrong foot. Back at Tenzin's house, Korra desperately tries to explain why she can't go back. She tells him that Republic City needs the Avatar, and more importantly, she needs him to train her so she can finally become the Avatar she's meant to be. She also casually mentions that Katara basically encouraged her to come here in the first place.
Don't bring my mother into this.
Whoa, he is definitely Katara's son. Anyway, Tenzin refuses to let Korra stay. Completely defeated at this point, Korra starts preparing to leave. But then Tenzin suddenly changes his mind, realizing that Korra might actually be right about the city needing the Avatar. He agrees to let her stay and start her airbending training. Just like that, Korra officially begins her new life in Republic City. The next thing we know, Korra is at a massive press conference where she introduces herself to the city as its new Avatar. But while Republic City celebrates her arrival and listens to her speech with hope, there's also somebody else who's been waiting for her all this time, Amon. Korra tries to convince Tenzin to take her to the pro bending arena for tonight's tournament, but he immediately shuts the idea down. According to him, pro bending is a disgrace to the noble skill of bending. He tells Korra to stay focused on her training since that's why she came here in the first place. Korra agrees, but we all know she's incapable of following instructions for longer than 5 minutes. For her first lesson, Tenzin explains that airbending is all about patience, balance, and moving like the wind through a set of spinning gates. To demonstrate, he asks Jinora to show Korra how it's done. Jinora glides through the course effortlessly like an elegant little airbending prodigy. Korra then gives it a try, but absolutely fails. She tries again, and no luck at all. Later that night, Korra is practicing alone when she hears commentary from the pro bending arena echoing through the island. Some guards are listening to the match on the radio. Korra instantly gets distracted. Unfortunately for her, Tenzin catches her and sends her straight to bed. The next morning, during meditation, Korra is visibly distracted. Tenzin tells her to focus, but thanks to her non-existent patience, she gives up halfway through and then leaves. Later that night, Korra secretly escapes the island, swimming her way to the pro bending arena. At the gym, she's caught by an old man who threatens to call security. Before Korra could explain herself, Bolin suddenly comes to her rescue, saying that she's with him. Told you, golden retriever energy. He takes Korra to the best seats in the house so she can get the best view of the tournament. The two quickly introduce themselves, and that's when Mako, Bolin's older, emotionally unavailable brother, finally arrives. He tells Bolin to stop bringing his fangirls to the matches and to get Korra out of there.
Wow, I heard you play on the radio.
Come on, Bolin, we're up.
The brothers prepare for the match, while Korra watches from the stands. The Fire Ferrets, Mako and Bolin's pro bending team, put on an impressive performance and win the match. Korra congratulates them, and asks Bolin if he can teach her a few pro bending tricks. Judging by her Water Tribe outfit, Bolin assumes Korra is a waterbender, so when she reveals she can firebend and earthbend as well, his brain absolutely short circuits.
You're the Avatar, and I'm an idiot.
Both are true.
He agrees to help, shows her a few moves. The next day, during Tenzin's training, Korra struggles once again. Frustrated by how bad she is, she completely loses control and ends up destroying Tenzin's ancient training equipment. And it's gonna take an eternity to recover from this. After having an argument with Tenzin, Korra storms off to the arena. There, she finds Mako and Bolin panicking because their waterbending teammate quit the team. This means the Fire Ferrets now have to forfeit the tournament. Korra immediately offers to replace him, but Mako refuses. Somehow, Bolin convinces his brother to let Korra join, and just like that, she's in. As the match begins, Mako warns Korra not to do anything anything stupid, which is hilarious advice for this woman. Korra keeps racking up foul penalties. Once again, her frustration gets the better of her. In the middle of the match, she accidentally firebends, instantly exposing herself as the Avatar to the entire arena. Meanwhile, back on Air Temple Island, the guards listening to the match on the radio accidentally catch Tenzin's attention, and he finds out what Korra's been up to. He rushes to the arena and immediately gives her an earful for disobeying him again. But Korra argues that pro bending is helping her learn the modern style of fighting, something traditional training never can. She then resumes her match. However, this time, something changes. Instead of forcing her attacks, she starts using the same flowing and spiraling movements Tenzin had been trying to teach her all along. With this, Korra smoothly moves through the ring and defeats her opponents with a knockout. Tenzin's definitely proud of her, and so is Mako. After the match, Korra apologizes to Tenzin, and the two make up. Korra, Mako, and Bolin continue training for the upcoming championship when a man named Butaka, who basically runs the entire pro betting mania, arrives. He hands Mako the team's winnings from the last match, only to immediately take most of it back for expenses like rent, food, and equipment. On top of that, he also tells the brothers they owe him 30,000 yuan for the championship entry fee. They only have till the end of the week to pay it, or else they're out of the tournament. Mako tells Bolin not to worry and promises that he's going to figure it out. But like a good younger brother, Bolin decides to help anyway by putting up a small circus starring his pet ferret, Pabu. Yeah, that should get him the money.
You can come back here and put money right in this. Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Not. Soon, he's approached by Shady Shin, a member of the Triple Threat Triad, the same gang Korra got into a fight with when she came to the city. He offers Bolin a part-time security gig, which Bolin initially refuses until Shin flashes a huge stack of cash in front of him. Determined to help his brother, he accepts the offer. On the other hand, Mako also gets a part-time job to collect the money for the entry fee. When he gets home, Bolin's nowhere to be found. Assuming he might have gotten himself into trouble, Mako goes to Korra for help, and the two begin searching the city. Their search leads them to Bolin's usual hangout spot, where a kid named Scoochie tells Mako he saw Bolin leaving with Shady Shin. The moment Mako hears that name, he knows Bolin must be in trouble. Korra and Mako rush to the Triple Threat Triad headquarters. By the time they arrive, the place is empty. From the back alley, they spot Amon's men dragging Bolin and several other men away. Korra and Mako try to chase them, but Amon's men, known as the Chi Blockers, disable their bending and get away. With no new leads, Korra suggests they wait in the park for the Equalist protest guys since they might know where Bolin's been taken to. While waiting, Mako finally opens up about his past. He reveals that when he was 8 years old, a firebender murdered his parents right in front of him. After that, he and Bolin were forced to survive on the streets, and they briefly work with the Triads as well. The next morning, as expected, the protest guy shows up. Korra manages to get some important info out of him, like the Revelation, a secret invite-only event hosted by Amon himself, so that's where they need to go next. Korra and Mako arrive at the event and are shocked by the massive crowd gathered there. Hundreds of non-benders have come to hear Amon speak, all united by their hatred and fear of benders. And then, finally, Amon appears on stage. He gives a chilling speech about how bending has caused suffering and war throughout history. He reveals that he comes from a non-bending family, that a firebender murdered his parents and burned his face, forcing him to wear a mask that he hides behind now. According to him, everything is about to change, because he claims he has the power to permanently remove someone's bending forever. To prove it, he brings several captives onto the stage, one of them being Bolin. Then, in front of the entire crowd, Amon takes away the bending of the Triple Threat Triad leader completely. Realizing Bolin is next, Korra creates a distraction while Mako manages to rescue him from the stage, and they barely escape. By the end of the episode, Korra tells Tenzin everything she witnessed at the event, and for the first time since arriving in Republic City, Korra is genuinely scared. The next morning, Korra wakes up from a nightmare where Amon takes away her bending. Safe to say the guy is officially living rent-free in her head. Meanwhile, Tenzin attends a Republic City Council meeting where Councilman Tarlok suggests creating a special task force to take down Amon and the Equalists. Tenzin opposed the idea, arguing that responding with aggressive force will only create more tension between benders and non-benders. But Tarlok manages to convince the rest of the council by warning them that Amon won't stop with the Triads. Eventually, he'll come after every bender in the city, including Tenzin and the Avatar herself. With that, the bill is passed. Back in the city, Mako gets accidentally knocked over by a woman riding a motorbike.
I was
The woman introduces herself as Asami and offers to make it up to him by asking him out on a date at a ridiculously fancy restaurant. Not sure how that's making it up to him. Anyway, Mako agrees, and oh my god, look at that guy blush. The next day, Mako gets ready for his date, and damn, the suit is suiting, okay. At dinner, Asami tells him she's a big pro bending fan, has watched all of his matches this season. Mako tells her he probably won't be going to the championship match because he's short on money, and that's when he catches Asami's last name, Sato, realizes who she is. The daughter of Hiroshi Sato, founder of Future Industries and one of the richest men in Republic City. The very next day, Asami introduces Mako to her father, and wow, this relationship is moving fast. Hiroshi reveals that he already knows about the brothers' financial struggles and offers to sponsor the Fire Ferrets for the championship. The only catch, they'll have to wear the Future Industries logo during the tournament. Honestly, it's a pretty good deal. It's just a sponsorship. On the other hand, Tarlok pays Korra a visit at Air Temple Island and personally asks her to join his new anti-equalist task force. To both Tarlok and Tenzin's surprise, Korra refuses, saying she wants to focus on her avatar training first. Truth is, after seeing what Amon did at the rally, Korra is terrified. But Tarlok doesn't take no for an answer. He keeps bombarding Korra with extravagant gifts in an attempt to change her mind. When this doesn't work, he invites Korra to a massive gala being held in her honor, so she can't say no. Korra arrives at the gala where basically every rich and powerful person in Republic City has been invited as well. Tarlok introduces Korra to Hiroshi Sato, and then she suddenly sees Asami arriving hand in hand with Mako. Yeah, not sure how that must feel, but definitely not good. Almost immediately, reporters surround Korra and begin questioning why the Avatar hasn't joined Tarlok's task force yet. They argue that protecting innocent people from Amon is literally her responsibility. She freezes under the pressure. In a moment of frustration, she agrees to join the task force. Exactly how Tarlok wanted. I've got a bad feeling about him. Next, without wasting any time, Tarlok puts Korra to work. He gathers the force and heads on to the first mission, where they successfully raid a chi blocker training camp and deliver a major blow to Amon's movement. But due to all of this, Korra is forced to miss her training for the championship. At a press conference, things get even worse when she impulsively challenges Amon to a one-on-one duel in front of the whole city. Tenzin tries to talk her out of it, but she refuses to listen and heads to the spot alone. Only, Amon never shows up, at least not publicly. As Korra prepares to leave, equalist chi blockers suddenly ambush her and drag her deeper into the temple. When she wakes up,
I received your invitation, young Avatar.
But instead of taking her bending away, he warns Korra to stay out of his way and tells her he will be coming for her very soon before knocking her out unconscious. Later, Korra briefly sees Aang in a dream before waking up beside Tenzin. For the first time in the series, she breaks down and admits that she's afraid of Amon. The episode begins with Korra, Mako, and Bolin training hard for the upcoming Pro Bending Championship. Now that the Fire Ferrets finally have sponsors, they're more determined than ever to win the tournament. Their first game's tonight. Asami comes in with the new uniforms for the team, and Mako leaves with his girlfriend. Later, Bolin admits to Mako that he actually likes Korra and wants to ask her out properly. But Mako tells him to stay focused on the tournament for now, like he's one to talk. Back at the Air Temple, Iki and Jinora tease Korra about having a crush on Mako. Korra asks what she should do, and Pema gives her the simplest advice possible. Just tell him how you feel. She also shares that before she started dating Tenzin, she was in a relationship with someone else, and only after Pema confessed her love did she get him. Whoa! Damn, Pema, I underestimated you. Meanwhile, the Fire Ferrets absolutely dominate their first championship match and advance to the next round undefeated. Taking advantage of the victory, Korra finally confesses to Mako that she likes him and wants them to spend more time together.
Look, I really like you, and I think we were meant for each other.
I'm really sorry, but I just don't feel the same way about you.
Oof. Just to make things even worse, Asami walks in and kisses Mako on the cheek right in front of Korra.
Emotional damage!
Bolin, completely unaware of Korra's feelings for Mako, asks to take her out and they both leave. Take that, Mako. I don't know, call me crazy, but I think this love triangle business is probably the weakest part of the first season. The two enjoy a really good time together eating noodles and burping. When Korra comes back, Mako is waiting for her. He accuses her of using Bolin to make him jealous. Oh, good. But Korra fires back by saying Mako's only upset because he does have feelings for her. Mako instantly denies this, which would have been a lot more convincing if he didn't look this stressed about it. Anyway, the quarterfinal match begins, but the Fire Ferrets are clearly distracted, obviously. But after barely surviving the first 3 rounds, Bolin volunteers for the tiebreaker round and absolutely clutches the win for the Fire Ferrets. After the match, Mako finally admits to Korra that he does have feelings for her, but he also likes Asami, and I guess everything is complicated, and I don't know why the writers thought this was an interesting storyline. It just makes me not like Mako. Before he could finish the sentence, Korra jumps forward and kisses him. Come on, so much for no feelings, huh? Unfortunately, Bolin walks in at the worst possible time, and my man even got flowers, planning to officially ask Korra out, but then ended up leaving in tears. Mako tells Korra it's all her fault. She shouldn't have kissed him, and they both end up arguing again. Man. Mako goes to make things right with his brother before the finals tonight. Bolin is obviously pretty mad at him, and high on noodles? He calls Mako a traitor for kissing Korra, but Mako picks him up and takes him back. At the arena, the team prepares for their semifinal match, but with the ongoing relationship drama between them, the morale is pretty low. As the match begins, the Ferrets are easily outdone by the opponent. Now their only chance of winning is a knockout in the 3rd round. Both Mako and Bolin get thrown out of the ring, so now it's up to Korra to pull this off. Using what she learned at the airbending training, she manages to calmly dodge the opponents and knocks them off like a pro.
It's the big kabaj!
The 3 make up after winning the match, and they head towards the finals. To win the championship, the Fire Ferrets now need to defeat the White Falls Wolfbats at the finals, who look like a tough opponent to beat. However, just before the match, Amon takes over the radio broadcast and threatens the council to shut down the bending arena and cancel the finals, or else there will be consequences. Korra arrives at the city hall with Mako and Bolin, only to find out the council has already decided on canceling the game. The team argues that the arena is probably the only place where benders and non-bending exist in peace, but Tarlok and Tenzin both have made their minds up, because they agree on something. That's when Chief of Police Lin Beifong shows up. She agrees with the kids and convinces the council to unite against the Equalists instead of being scared. She promises that she and her team will provide extra security at the arena. Hence, the council agrees and the championship is on. After the meeting, Tenzin tries to talk Lin out of this, but she doesn't listen. Korra thanks Lin for helping them save the tournament, but again receives a cold shoulder from her. Oh, and FYI, remember the ex-girlfriend of Tenzin Pema mentioned? Yeah, it was Lin. And Korra somehow connects the dots.
Pema didn't steal me. Lin and I had been growing apart for some time.
Okay, lover boy, relax. Alright, so the final game begins, and the security is extremely tight. Lin agrees to work along with Tenzin to make sure everybody, especially the Benders, are safe. Right from the start, the Wolfbats dominate the match using aggressive and clearly illegal moves, and the referee completely ignores it. The Fire Ferrets quickly realize the refs have probably been paid off, meaning the only way to win is by outsmarting the Wolfbats. After managing to survive into the final round, the Fire Ferrets are eventually knocked out, and despite everyone witnessing the cheating, the Wolfbats are once again declared champions. That's just rigged. Before the crowd can even react, Equalists disguised as audience members suddenly launch an attack on the arena. First, they take Lin and Tenzin out, and then all the metal-bending police officers one by one. They also electrocute the Fire Ferrets in the water, and finally, Amon appears in the ring to take out the Wolfbats. He takes away their bending in front of the whole city, and once again, Korra sees flashbacks of Avatar Aang being in a similar situation in the past. Thankfully, Pabu manages to free the Fire Ferrets from their restraints. Meanwhile, Amon gives a massive speech declaring that the Equalists will no longer hide in the shadows, and that the era of bending supremacy is finally coming to an end. Then, as the Equalists escape using airships, explosions begin going off across the arena. Korra desperately chases after Amon, but freezes when fear and panic overwhelm her. Just as she nearly falls to her death, Lin swoops in and saves her. The two manage to reach Amon's airship, but once again, he escapes. After the Equalists attack on the arena, Mako and Bolin are forced to move out since pro-bending has officially been shut down. Korra rushes over to tell them she convinced Tenzin to let them stay at Air Temple Island, but unfortunately she's about 30 seconds too late. Asami already offered the brothers a place at her mansion, and obviously they said yes because have you seen that house? That's crazy. She invites Korra to stay too, but she refuses, claiming she has Avatar duties to handle. Thankfully, Bolin convinces her to come along. Meanwhile, Chief Lin Beifong is under heavy criticism for failing to protect the arena. Desperate for answers, she raids Cabbage Corp, discovers Equalist weapons connected to the company, and yes, it is the same cabbage merchant from the Avatar series, just older and somehow still suffering.
No! Not my Cabbage Corp!
This band generally cannot catch a break in any timeline. At the Sato mansion, everyone is basically living their best life. Asami takes Korra out for a drive in one of the Sato mobiles, and surprisingly, the two bond pretty quick. Korra even admits she assumed Asami would be some kind of spoiled rich girl, but realizes that she actually likes her. Later that day, Korra overhears suspicious voices while wandering through the mansion, so naturally, she follows.
Luckily, the Cabbage Corp investigation has bought us enough time.
And oh boy, Daddy Sato's looking pretty suspicious right now. Are there no good billionaires in the world? Instead of telling her friends though, Korra leaves the mansion and rushes back to the Air Temple Island. Korra tells Tenzin and Lin everything she overheard, but without actual proof, they can't arrest Hiroshi Sato just yet. Lin then reveals that many years ago, Hiroshi's wife was killed by firebenders during a robbery attempt, giving him a very personal reason to hate benders. So the group heads back to Sato Mansion for questioning. When Mako hears Korra accusing Hiroshi, he immediately thinks that she's just jealous of Asami, tells her to stop acting irrational. Okay, Mako, maybe let's use our brains for 2 seconds, okay? Hiroshi calmly explains that Korra simply misunderstood a business conversation about eliminating his competition in the automobile industry. Pretty smooth cover-up, man. Tenzin then asks permission to inspect Hiroshi's factories and warehouses. Surprisingly, Hiroshi agrees. They search through the factories, but fail to find something suspicious that points at Mr. Hiroshi having ties with the Equalists. But Korra still refuses to believe that he's innocent. Mako tells Korra if she doesn't stop this nonsense, their friendship is over. However, as they prepare to leave, one of Hiroshi's workers secretly slips Korra a note telling her to meet him under a bridge at midnight if she wants the truth. When Korra gets there, the worker reveals that Hiroshi has been secretly manufacturing weapons for the Equalists, including the electric gloves used by chi blockers. It's not even the worst part. Apparently, he's building something much bigger, and he keeps all this in a secret factory below the mansion. Lin and the police immediately raid the mansion and demand that Asami show them the hidden factory. Asami insists that there's no such thing. However, Hiroshi Sato, who according to his daughter is supposed to be at his home workshop, is not there. Lin uses her metal bending, senses a tunnel beneath the workshop. Surprise, surprise. As they go down the tunnel, they discover a huge factory filled with giant mecha tanks. Right on cue, the walls of the factory go up and they realize that they've been trapped. Hiroshi attacks the group from inside the tanks. He easily knocks everybody out and asks his men to deliver them to Amon. Meanwhile, Mako and Bolin realize something's wrong and rush in to help. Fortunately, they arrive just in time to also get destroyed. But before Hiroshi can finish them off, Asami finally steps in. Hiroshi asks his daughter to join him and the Equalists. For a second, almost sounds like she might actually say yes. Instead, Asami electrocutes her own father and helps Team Avatar escape the mansion together. Mako, Bolin, and Asami officially move into Air Temple Island with Korra, and things immediately get awkward. While helping Asami settle in, Iki casually blurts out that Korra has a crush on Mako.
Did you know Korra likes Mako?
Oof. Before Korra can somehow explain this disaster, Tenzin arrives with more bad news. Lin Beifong is resigned as chief of police after the Equalist attacks in the Hiroshi Sato scandal. At the press conference, the new chief of police, Saikon, announces that all anti-Equalist operations will now answer directly to Councilman Tarlok, which sounds a little fishy, doesn't it? Korra gets into an argument with Tarlok and refuses to join his task force again. In response, Tarlok makes fun of her, saying she's a half-baked avatar in training who can't even bend air properly, and tells her to stay out of his way. She can bend 3 times the elements of everyone else, dude. On their way back, Korra gets upset again over her inability to properly airbend, even after so much training. Tenzin shares that Avatar Aang learned a lot of things not from his masters, but from his past lives as Avatar. Maybe Korra could try making a connection with her past lives. Korra shares about her hallucinations where she saw Aang twice, but says she doesn't remember much from the hallucinations. Later that night, Korra sits alone, completely overwhelmed by everything happening around her. Thankfully, the rest of Team Avatar shows up to cheer her up. They remind Korra that even Aang struggled while learning to become the Avatar. Most importantly, he had friends to help him through it.
We got your back, Korra, and we can save the city together.
Now, with new spirits, Team Avatar gears up and makes their way to the city in style. When they reach the city, there's absolute chaos on the roads with escaped convicts from jail. Team Avatar jumps into action. After a pretty intense pursuit, they manage to stop the convoy and recapture the escaped criminals. Tarlok arrives shortly afterward. Instead of thanking them, he gets angry. According to him, Team Avatar interfered with police operations and caused unnecessary destruction across the city. The next day, Tarlok pushes through a harsh new curfew targeting non-benders across Republic City. Tenzin strongly opposes the decision, but the council approves it anyway. Oh man. The new curfew, of course, immediately sparks massive protests across the city as non-benders flood the streets demanding justice. Things quickly spiral out of control when the police start using excessive force against the protesters. Korra confronts Tarlok and demands he stop escalating the situation, but Tarlok instead orders his officers to arrest everybody involved, so Korra uses her bending to help innocent civilians escape. But Tarlok absolutely loses it. Out of pure spite, he arrests Mako, Bolin, and Asami. Tenzin later tries convincing Chief Saikon to release them, but Saikon refuses to go against Tarlok's orders. Unable to sit around any longer, Korra decides to confront Tarlok herself. She rides Naga straight to Tarlok's office and demands he release her friends immediately. But the argument quickly turns into a full-blown fight. Tarlok offers Korra a deal: obey him, join the task force, and her friends go free. Korra refuses, calling him just as bad as Mon, and after that, all restraint disappears. Korra completely overwhelms Tarlok in battle, destroying half his office in the process.
Still think I'm a half-baked avatar?
Yeah, you tell him. But just as she's about to defeat him completely, Tarlok reveals his secret weapon, bloodbending. Oh my god. Using it, he instantly paralyzes Korra and puts her in a van, preparing to send her somewhere she can never come back from. Tarlok secretly takes Korra far outside Republic City and locks her inside the basement of an abandoned cabin. He puts her inside a metal chamber where she can't bend her way out. The next day, he tells everyone that the Equalists attacked the council, electrocuted him, and took Korra away. Hearing the news, Lin, who's still recovering from her injuries, returns back to help. First off, she releases Korra's friends out of prison and fills them in about her being missing. Back in the basement, Korra tries her best to break out of the chamber but fails. This is when she remembers Tenzin's advice about connecting with her past lives. She starts to meditate and successfully connects with Aang. Through his memories, Korra sees him and Toph hunting down a dangerous criminal named Yakone, a powerful bloodbender who used his abilities to control and torture innocent people. Meanwhile, in the city, Lin, Tenzin, and Team Avatar investigate an underground tunnel where they suspect the Equalists must be keeping Korra. Asami notices Mako being extremely worried about Korra and casually asks Bolin if there's something going on between them. Bolin, being Bolin, ends up telling her about Mako and Korra kissing at the arena. Korra is still nowhere to be found. Mako interrogates one of the chi bloggers, and the man tells him they don't have the Avatar here. In fact, the Equalists did not attack the council, and Tarlok is lying.
Why would Tarlok make up a story about getting attacked?
Because he has Korra.
Back in the flashback, Korra watches as Yakone is sentenced to life imprisonment for his crimes. However, he does not stop there. He uses bloodbending to control and knock everyone out, including Toph and Aang, and manages to run away. But Aang enters his avatar state. He catches him and ends up taking Yakone's bending away forever. Korra connects the dots and understands what Aang has been trying to tell her. Tarlok is Yakone's son. Back at the council, Tenzin asks Tarlok where he has kept Korra, and he denies all the accusations until his messenger exposes him. She reveals that she saw Tarlok taking Korra somewhere and is secretly a bloodbender. Well, that's your career over, dude. You're cancelled. Now with his secret out, Tarlok bloodbends everybody in the room and escapes. He arrives back in the cabin basement and accuses Korra of destroying his life, just like Aang ruined his father's. Korra reveals she knows the truth about Yakone, but Tarlok no longer cares. His new plan is to start a new life somewhere else. As he's about to leave, Amon shows up there with his men. He easily overpowers Tarlok and removes his bending too, proving that absolutely nobody is safe from him anymore. Then Amon orders his men to electrocute Korra's metal prison and capture her next. But with full brain usage, Korra escapes the chamber and flees with Naga. Meanwhile, Team Avatar continues searching for Korra when they suddenly hear Naga's cries in the distance. And finally, they reunite with her. But out of everyone there, one person looks very relieved.
I was so worried. Are you all right?
I'm fine.
Some hearts are mended, some are about to be broken. The next episode starts with Mako looking at Korra as she recovers from her injuries. Asami sees his concern and grows upset, which is fair. After dinner, Asami confronts Mako about him kissing Korra and both get into a slight argument. Oh, this is so riveting. Back in the city, the rest of the council members start getting kidnapped by Amon's men, leaving Tenzin solely responsible for all the major decisions to be made now. As he leaves for the city, Tenzin asks Lin to stay at the air temple with his family and protect them if something goes wrong. She agrees. When he reaches the city, he barely survives an Equalist attack on him and watches as Amon's airships bomb different parts of the city. Tenzin and Chief Saikon try to handle the situation, but Amon is already several steps ahead. He's already attacked the harbor, so the chief has no option but to evacuate. However, before leaving, Tenzin manages to send a wire to the General of the United Forces for reinforcements, the international military alliance founded by Avatar Aang and Fire Lord Zuko to maintain peace and prevent global conflict after the 100-Year War. Outside the headquarters, the mecha tanks ambush Tenzin and the officers. Tenzin manages to hold them off for a while, but they take Saikon away. Korra and her friends arrive to help and successfully take the tanks down. However, they're a little late. Lin tries her best to fight alone as Pema goes into labor, but soon she's on the ground. And guess who comes to her rescue? Her ex-boyfriend's annoying little kids. Using their pro airbending skills, they manage to kick the ass of the G-blockers and save Lin from getting toasted. Soon enough, Tenzin arrives at the air temple, and let's just say he's relieved to see that everybody's safe. Pema gives birth to a baby boy, and they name him Rohan. But the happy moment is definitely cut short because more airships are coming. Tenzin tells Korra to go underground for some time. Meanwhile, he takes his family to a secure place. He promises he will return soon, and then together they will take him on down, and hopefully the United Forces will arrive by then as well. Korra argues but eventually agrees to go. Lin decides to go with Tenzin to protect his family, since they're the last remaining airbenders. However, some of the airships start to follow Tenzin. Realizing they'll never escape safely otherwise, Lin makes the difficult decision to stay behind and fight the airships alone. In doing so, she's captured by Amon, who takes her bending away. Korra and her friends also take Naga and move to find a secure spot to lay low. They find a tunnel in the city to hide as they watch Amon's ships taking full control of Air Temple Island. The next episode starts with Hiroshi Sato proudly addressing the Equalists, announcing that Republic City is finally under their control. Mako and Korra are also at the rally dressed up as Chi-blockers. They return to their temporary hideout inside the tunnel, where a small colony of benders and non-benders are living, hiding from Amon. Soon after, Team Avatar heads to the coast to meet the incoming United Forces, led by General Iroh, grandson of Fire Lord Zuko. But even though Amon is aware of the incoming help, there are no Chi-blockers or mecha tanks around the coast. And then, suddenly, Future Industries' latest air jets appear in the sky, launching a massive aerial attack. They completely overwhelm the United Forces. During the chaos, Korra rescues General Iroh from drowning and brings him back to the underground hideout, where she heals his injuries using waterbending. Iroh reveals that more reinforcements are already on the way, led by Commander Bumi, Tenzin's older brother. Anyway, the group works out a plan to take down the air jet before the next reinforcement arrives. But Korra's got other plans. She says she's done running away from Amon, so she's going to go down and take him out once and for all. Mako pleads to go with her, and after saying their goodbyes, the two groups get on their way.
I'm sorry things got so messed up between us, but whatever happens today, I want you to know how much I care about you.
Yeah, I think that was more of a breakup goodbye than a goodbye. Anyway, Mako and Korra get to the air temple and sneak up into the attic, planning to wait for Amon to return. However, what they find in the attic is not what they were expecting. Tarlok is locked up and looks totally devastated. I mean, of course, his powers are just taken away. Korra asks why Amon is keeping him here while the rest of the prisoners are in the basement.
I'm Amon's brother.
Moreover, he shares that his father, Yakone, escaped from prison and underwent surgery to change his appearance. With a new identity, he settled down in the Northern Water Tribe and married his mother. His elder brother, Noatak, also known as Amon, is a waterbender just like him and used to be a sensitive kid who loved his younger brother dearly. Until one day, their father told them who he actually was. He forced both boys into brutal bloodbending training so they could one day avenge their father, and Noatak became terrifyingly powerful at it. Eventually, he turned against his father, ran away from home, disappearing forever. They searched for him for a long time, but then assumed that he must have died in the snowstorm. After a few years, Yakone passed away as well, but now Tarlok finally knows what happened to his brother. Fueled by the hatred their father once put him in, he became Amon, and now he actually believes bending is the source of every evil. At last, Tarlok asks for Korra's forgiveness, and also tells her that his brother uses bloodbending to take someone's bending powers away. Now, with all this new information, Korra comes up with a new plan: expose Amon's identity and show people who he really is, a bender. Asami, Bolin, and Iroh prepare to take down Hiroshi Sato in his secret airfield before Bumi arrives with more forces, but they get electrocuted in exactly 3 seconds. Ugh. Back in the city, Mako and Korra arrive at Amon's victory rally. As he continues to tell people about his fake origin story, Korra calls him out and exposes his real identity.
Or should I call you Noatak?
She tells everyone he's a waterbender and Councilman Tarlok's brother. Amon denies the allegations and takes his mask off to show people his real face. And he does have burn marks on his face. Korra's entire expose quest comes crashing at her feet. But as she and Mako are about to escape, Amon asks her to wait a little longer for the main event. He shows that he's captured Tenzin and his family. Korra doesn't think twice before attacking Amon, and Mako creates a cover so they can escape. Tenzin goes to rescue Pema and the baby, while Mako and Korra hold Amon off, but it's not long before he finally catches them both. He uses bloodbending to paralyze Korra, and wait, no, he takes Korra's powers away. Back at the airfield, Naga comes to rescue the trio, and they get on with their plan. They destroy the airfield and the air jets completely. Iroh takes over one of the mini jets leaving towards his ships and takes them all down one by one. Finally, Bolin and Asami also take down Hiroshi Sato, who, by the way, is the worst father of the century. As Amon approaches Mako to take his bending away, he launches a full fire volcano at him and knocks him out for a couple good minutes. He takes Korra, tries to get away, but the stubborn bastard Amon catches up again. He bloodbends Mako, appreciating his strength, and feels sorry that he has to take it away. Before he can, Korra snaps. Her anger channels her airbending powers, and she throws Amon off.
Impossible.
Oh my god. Yeah, you don't mess with Mako on Korra's watch, even though I don't really like their relationship. Take that. She does it again, and this time throws him out of the building and into the water. At this point, it's over for him, because he uses waterbending to save himself while all of his supporters watch. Not just this, but his burn scars are gone too, which means he painted them on. Man, come on. Now that the truth is finally out, he has no option other than to run away. However, there's one thing left for him to do. Gotta get his brother. You see, Amon may be an evil jerk, but Noatak is still the same sensitive, loving brother. He takes Tarlok with him, saying they should start a new life together. They both leave in a boat, but something tells Tarlok this is never going to end. He takes one of the Future Industries gloves and uses it to blast the boat, killing both himself and his brother. The saddest part of it is that Noatak could sense what was happening, and he didn't stop him. Back at the air temple, Tenzin appreciates Korra for saving Republic City. Commander Boomy also arrives, though he's a little late to the party since the day is already saved. Korra is taken to the South Pole again, where Katara tries using her healing powers to recover her bending powers, but nothing works. Disheartened by everything, Korra leaves with Naga. Mako catches up to comfort her, and finally confesses that he loves her. But Korra is kinda too broken to respond right now. Eventually, Korra stands alone at the edge of a cliff, completely breaks down. Avatar Aang pays her a visit.
Aang.
You have finally connected with your spiritual self.
He tells Korra that by reaching her lowest point, she's finally opened herself up spiritually, connected fully with her past lives. Using the Avatar spirit, Aang restores Korra's bending, and we finally get to see Korra in her Avatar state. Mako witnesses the entire moment and passes on a proud smile. Korra confesses her feelings to him, and the two share a proper kiss this time. Okay, that was kinda cute. Toward the end, Korra uses her Avatar form to give Lin her bending powers back, and after some tiring days, everyone can finally have a good night's sleep. Okay, the story takes a 6-month leap from where things ended in Book 1. After Korra and her friends restored peace in Republic City and defeated Amon, the city has now elected its first president named Raiko, which means Tenzin finally has more time to focus on his family and Korra's training. The Weatherway has unlocked her Avatar form and uses it to win races against children.
No fair! You can't go into the Avatar state to win!
Kind of funny. Commander Boomy, who's now retired, also lives with Tenzin at the air temple, occasionally facilitates these races. Mako, on the other hand, has joined the police force under Lin Beifong, while Bolin, with 2 new replacements in the Fire Ferrets, is taking part in the pro-bending tournament again. Meanwhile, Asami is struggling to rebuild Future Industries after her father's betrayal tarnished the company's reputation. Tenzin warns Korra that she's still treating her Avatar powers too casually, suggests they continue her spiritual training at the Southern Air Temple. But Korra, being Korra, believes she's already strong enough and doesn't need more training. However, Tenzin has already made the itinerary. Before leaving for the Air Temple, everyone travels to the Southern Water Tribe for the Glacial Spirits Festival, where we're introduced to Kaya, Aang and Katara's daughter and Tenzin's older sister. During the festival, Korra also reunites with her parents and introduces them to Mako as her boyfriend. The chief of the Northern Water Tribe also arrives at the festival with his twins, Eska and Desna, and Korra's father doesn't look very pleased to see him. Turns out the Northern chief, Unalaq, is actually his brother and they do not get along. More family drama. Good. While exploring the festival, Unalaq tells Korra that dark spirits have recently begun attacking the Southern Water Tribe because the world has lost its spiritual balance. According to him, the South has drifted too far away from its spiritual roots. He offers to personally teach Korra about the spirit world and help her become a true spiritual avatar. Korra's father, Tunrak, immediately shuts the idea down, insisting that Tenzin is Korra's mentor and Unalaq should stay out of it. Meanwhile, Asami and Bolin meet a wealthy businessman named Varric, who controls a huge portion of the world's shipping industry, and somehow can't function without his assistant, Ju Li. Within about 30 seconds, it becomes very clear that Varric is completely insane. He agrees to partner with Future Industries after one of the weirdest business meetings ever known to mankind.
Look me in the eye.
We got a deal!
Later that night during the royal feast, tensions between Tonraq and Unalaq explode once again when Unalaq insists that Korra should train under him instead of Tenzin. He argues that Korra's duty as the Avatar is to connect the physical and spiritual world, something that Tenzin has still not been able to teach her. However, Korra doesn't respond. At night, Korra thinks about what her uncle said. Suddenly, Naga starts acting pretty weird. Korra follows her outside when she's attacked by a dark spirit. Tenzin, Tonraq, Mako, and Bolin all try stopping it, but they totally fail. This is when Unalaq steps in and uses his spiritual techniques to pacify the spirit instantly. This changes something inside Korra. Suddenly, she becomes interested in what her uncle has to teach her, so she decides to change mentors. Tenzin and Tonraq still urge Korra to leave with them for her original training plan. Frustrated that both Tenzin and her father keep trying to control her decisions, Korra finally snaps. She says neither of them could help with the spirit attack while Unalaq handled it effortlessly. And with this, she makes her final decision loud and clear.
I'm sorry, Tenzin. This is as far as we go.
Okay, I feel extremely bad for him. The next morning, Tenzin leaves for the Southern Air Temple as planned with his family and siblings, but without Korra. So Korra officially begins her spiritual training under Unalaq. He insists on starting at the South Pole by restoring balance between the spirits and the physical world. Before leaving, Tonraq warns his brother that the South Pole has become too dangerous lately and insists on joining them to protect Korra. Meanwhile, Tenzin, Bumi, Kaya, and the kids finally arrive at the Southern Air Temple, one of the places Avatar Aang once called home, and the servants immediately treat them like royalty. Well, most of them.
Sorry, I thought you were the servants.
We're Tenzin's brother and sister.
Avatar Aang had other children?
Back at the South Pole, the group stops to camp for the night when tensions between Tonraq and Unalaq explode once again. This time, Unalaq reveals the real reason the spirits are angry. It all leads back to Tonraq. With no choice left, Tonraq finally tells Korra the truth about his past. Years ago, he was a general of the Northern Water Tribe and led an attack against barbarian raiders who had taken refuge inside a sacred spiritual forest. Even though the forest was believed to belong to the spirits, Tonraq attacked it anyway, in order to protect his people. The mission succeeded, but in the process, the forest got destroyed. Soon after, dark spirits attacked the Northern Water Tribe in retaliation, nearly destroying the entire city before Unalaq managed to calm them down. Because of the disaster, Tonraq was banished from the north by their father, and Unalaq eventually became chief instead. Korra is furious at her father for keeping such a massive secret from her for so long. Then she leaves. The group continues toward the spirit forest, but the tension between Korra and her father only gets worse. Tonraq keeps trying to reason with her, but Korra finally tells him to stop following her and return home. Realizing she's going to be mad for a while, Tonraq reluctantly leaves, trusting Mako to watch over her instead. Once they reach the forest, Unalaq explains to Korra what she has to do. Deep within the forest lies a dormant spirit portal, and Korra must reopen it in order to restore peace between the spirits and the South Pole. Korra enters the forest alone, and eventually reaches the ancient portal. After struggling for a while, she finally manages to unlock it using spiritual energy. And the moment the portal opens, the entire sky lights up with spiritual energy across the South Pole. Unalaq proudly tells Korra that she's finally taken her first real step toward becoming a spiritual avatar. Mako gives her the proud boyfriend hug of approval, but the victory celebration does not last long. The next day, when they return, they see Northern Water Tribe ships arriving at the south coast. Judging by the size of the army, Unalaq clearly didn't just come here just to help the spirits. With northern troops now stationed across the south, the southerners feel like their culture and independence are slowly being stripped away. Varric wastes absolutely no time encouraging everyone to prepare for a full-on civil war. Korra tries to calm everybody down, but it becomes very clear that her tribe does not trust Unalaq's intentions at all. Meanwhile, Bolin is dealing with a completely different kind of crisis. He accidentally got into a relationship with Eska, Unalaq's terrifying daughter, and now she basically treats him like an emotional support hostage.
Laugh at my humorous quip.
Yes, dear.
This man is truly suffering. Desperate for help, Bolin goes to Mako, who gives him the brilliant advice of rip it off like a blood-sucking lychee and just tell her honestly you want to break up with her. Anyway, after witnessing the strong reactions from her tribe, Korra confronts her uncle upon calling the northern forces here. He tells her that they're just here to protect the spirits from people who might cause them harm. He further tells Korra that the southern spirit portal was only the beginning. To fully restore balance, she must travel north with him and open the northern spirit portal as well. Believing this could finally reunite both tribes peacefully, Korra agrees. Unfortunately, almost nobody else supports this decision, especially Tonraq, and the two get into yet another argument. Trying to take Korra's mind off the growing unrest, Mako plans a date night for the two of them. But to their surprise, some uninvited guests show up.
Isn't this fun, huh?
Yeah, that's not uncomfortable at all. Meanwhile, at the air temple, Iki goes missing after fighting with Jinora and Milo, so Tenzin, Bumi, and Kaya go searching for her. But during the search, the siblings start unpacking years of unresolved family trauma. Bumi and Kaya admit that they always felt neglected by their father growing up because most of his attention always went toward Tenzin, the only airbending child and the person meant to carry on his legacy. According to them, Aang took Tenzin on special trips and created memories with him that they were never a part of. This leads to a heated argument between siblings, while Iki is still nowhere to be found. The next day, Korra learns through her mother that Varric has invited her father to rebel against Unalaq. Without putting much thought into it, Korra goes to alert her uncle about this. But when she gets there, she sees a group of men kidnapping Unalaq. She assumes one of the masked men to be her father, tries to stop him. But when she unmasks him, it's not her father. Ooh, okay. Unalaq thanks her for saving his life and arrests all the traitors. Overwhelmed with all this, she goes back to her parents' home and apologizes to her father for acting out all this time. The family shares a warm hug when her uncle makes an appearance. Now, you'd assume he's there to apologize to his brother and make things right, but...
You are under arrest and will stand trial for conspiring to assassinate me.
Ooh, more drama. After arresting Korra's parents and the southern rebels, Unalaq assures Korra that the trial will be completely fair and that innocent people will be released. And nobody's buying that one, Unalaq. Meanwhile, Mako, Bolin, and Asami wait for Varric so Asami can finally complete her business deal with him. Unfortunately, Eska and Desna also show up looking for Varric on their father's orders, and Bolin is still trapped in whatever terrifying relationship this is.
Boyfriend, bow to me when I exit.
Yes, my sweet koala otter.
Once the twins leave, Varric comes out of hiding and reveals that Unalaq plans to rig the trial and permanently remove Tonraq from power. Sure enough, exactly what happens. At the trial, Senna, Korra's mother, is declared innocent, but Tonraq and the other rebels are sentenced to life imprisonment. Korra immediately protests, but her dad advises her not to make things worse. Meanwhile, Bolin finally gathers the courage to break up with Eska. He tells her he doesn't feel the spark with her anymore, and surprisingly, she says she feels the same. Except, she has a solution for this. Marriage. Yeah, Bolin is never coming back. Anyway, the next day, Korra catches the judge of the trial and orders him to release her father. Scared for his life, he tells her he was just following Unalaq's orders. Turns out, Unalaq wants his brother out of the way, but he also needs Korra, which is why he let Senna go. Not only that, years ago, it was Unalaq who secretly orchestrated the barbarian attack that led to Tonraq's banishment, all because he wanted more power. Oh, another brother rivalry, okay. Back at the Air Temple, Tenzin finally manages to find Iki. She's in a cave, playing with 4 baby bison because apparently they're her new siblings. Tenzin joins her for some father-daughter time and realizes Iki ran away because she felt ignored and overwhelmed by her siblings, something Tenzin secretly relates to after recently arguing with Bumi and Kaya. The two talk about how frustrating family can be sometimes, but also how they're always there when it really matters. Eventually, everyone reunites at the temple. Iki makes up with her siblings, and so does Tenzin. Kaya shares an old childhood photo of the family, and just like that, everybody makes up. After learning the truth about Unalaq, Korra immediately decides to rescue her father from prison, but her evil uncle is already ahead of her. By the time Korra arrives, Tonraq has already been loaded onto a ship headed for the Northern Water Tribe. Unalaq then openly attacks Korra and her friends, forcing them to flee. Thankfully, Varric arrives at the perfect moment and helps Team Avatar chase down the prison ship using one of his boats. After a pretty intense rescue mission, Korra successfully frees Tonraq and finally tells him the truth about Unalaq being responsible for his banishment all those years ago. After all the lies, arguments, and family drama, Korra and her father finally reconcile. That's just too sweet. Korra and the others arrive back in Republic City, hoping to get military support against Unalaq and the Northern occupation. Varric helps Korra arrange a meeting with President Raiko, while Mako returns to work at the police force. And Bolin, let's just say, is happy he escaped Eska before she actually forced him into marriage. Korra joins a peaceful protest against the Northern forces, but things quickly escalate when explosions suddenly go off at the nearest building. Mako chases after the bombers, but only manages to get his hands on the remote they used to make the explosions go off. The next day, Korra meets President Raiko and asks him to send the United Forces to help the South, but Raiko refuses, claiming the conflict is just an internal tribal dispute and not Republic City's responsibility. Frustrated, Korra vents to Mako and insists the Northern tribe was behind the explosions. Mako, however, believes there may be someone else involved, warns her against jumping to conclusions. And that results in another argument between the two. I don't know, I think this relationship is really hanging on by a thread. Desperate for ideas, Korra turns to Varric, because apparently this guy never disappoints. Azami also joins since she needs help with future industry sales being down.
Let's do this!
Once the blood finally reaches his brain, Varric suggests that Asami sell Future Industries weapons to the southern tribe who are actually in need of it. For Korra, he suggests secretly recruiting General Iroh to support the South unofficially. It's actually a pretty good plan. Unfortunately, Bolin doesn't get a memo on how not to share this info with everybody, so when telling Mako about his new acting role in Varric's Mover productions, he overshares about Korra's new plan of getting the United Forces to help. The next day at the police headquarters, the president asks Mako if he knows anything about Korra's plan, and Mako, choosing professionalism over romance, tells him the truth. General Iroh, who initially agreed to help Korra, gets a warning by Raiko and is forced to step away. When Korra finds out Mako exposed the plan, she storms into his office. Mako argues that he was simply doing his job, that Korra keeps making reckless decisions without thinking about the consequences. Then finally, Mako says what we were expecting for a pretty long while.
So what? Are you breaking up with me?
I guess I am.
Korra runs out of the building, and without wasting a minute, starts making her way to the Fire Nation for help. But on her way, she's attacked by her cousins, Eska and Desna. However, before they could capture her, a dark spirit attacks her as well. I mean, give this girl a break. She tries to calm the spirit and guide it away, but it doesn't work, and the spirit takes Korra down with her. Things, somehow, get even worse for Asami when another shipment of her mecha tanks gets stolen after an attack on one of Varric's ships. Meanwhile, Varric is busy producing his propaganda movie starring Bolin as a heroic southern warrior named Nuktuk, and unfortunately, the fame goes straight to Bolin's head, making him absolutely unbearable. At the same time, Mako tries to investigate who stole Asami's shipment. Lin Beifong and the police think that it's the Northerners, but Mako tries to convince them there's someone else behind it. He proposes a sting operation, but Lin refuses to listen. Asami, desperate to recover her tanks and find out who's behind it, encourages Mako to do an off-the-record operation. They plan to take a shipment out in the sea to bait the attackers and catch them red-handed. Varric overhears this conversation and says he wants to help as well. He offers Mako and Asami to take one of his ships, but they need more manpower. Asami suggests asking Korra for help, but Mako refuses without telling her why he can't ask her. Also, no one has any idea that Korra was taken by a dark spirit. Mako first asks Bolin for help, but like an arrogant movie star, he refuses.
I don't know, Mako. Figure it out.
So Mako asks the Triple Threat Triads for help, which does not sound like a good idea, but they work out a deal and take Varric's ship to sea. They load it with empty crates and secure Asami's remaining property in a warehouse. Back at the South Pole, Eska and Desna report to Unalaq that Korra was dragged away by a dark spirit and is most likely dead. Out at sea, Mako and Asami wait for the attackers to strike, but nothing happens. This is when Mako overhears Shady Shin and the Triads talking about someone paying them extra to keep Mako and Asami distracted. Well, turns out the whole mission was a setup. Realizing they've been double-crossed, Mako and Asami escape the ship just before the Triads turn on them completely. After barely surviving the chase, Asami suddenly realizes the real target was never the fake shipment, it was her actual warehouse. The two rush back to Future Industries, but they're already too late. Everything Asami had left has been stolen. And with it, Future Industries has basically finished. Mako tries comforting her, and... what? Come on. Dude just broke up with his girlfriend, who by the way has been missing for days, and these two are rebooting their old romance again? I don't know, guys. Anyway, Mako later visits Varric's movie set to tell him about the failed operation. But while walking through the studio, he notices the crew setting up explosives identical to the ones used during the bombing at the Southern Protest rally. And that's when it clicks. It was Varric this whole time. The bombings, the attacks, the stolen shipments, all of it was orchestrated to profit from the growing civil war. Mako rushes to warn Asami, but once he arrives, Varric has already seized control of Future Industries through legal documentation. At last, we finally see Korra waking up at a very faraway island. The local villagers rescue her, but something's horribly wrong. She doesn't remember how she got there. She doesn't remember her friends. Worst of all, she doesn't remember being the Avatar.
Who's Avatar Korra?
The villagers take Korra to their spiritual leader, who quickly realizes she's been infected by dark spiritual energy. If it isn't cleansed soon, it could end up taking Korra's life. To save her, they place Korra inside sacred healing waters. While unconscious, Korra enters a spiritual vision where her past Avatar lives urge her to find Rava before the darkness completely consumes her. Suddenly, a young boy appears before her. He introduces himself as Juan, the very first Avatar. He tells Korra he will help her find Rava and takes her thousands of years into the past. He shows Korra a time when humans lived safely on the backs of giant lion turtles, while dangerous spirits roamed the wilds beyond the cities. Back then, Juan was just a poor thief, surviving by stealing food. Whenever humans left the city to hunt, the lion turtle temporarily granted them the power of fire for protection. One day, Juan secretly keeps his firebending after returning home and uses it to threaten a rich man who's hoarding food while everyone else starved. Unfortunately for him, he gets caught almost immediately. As a punishment, Juan is banished into the spirit wilds forever. However, he manages to convince the lion turtle to let him keep the element of fire, so he can at least try to save himself from the spirits. In the wilds, the spirits initially attack Juan and chase him through the forest, but somehow he manages to survive the night. The next day, Juan sees several hunters trying to kill a wild cat, and because this man genuinely has a very good heart, he protects it using the fire element. That single act of kindness changes everything for him. The spirits begin accepting Juan, allowing him to live peacefully among them. Over time, he forms close bonds with the spirits, and even befriends the wild cat that he saved, naming it Mula. One day, the spirits tell Juan there are many lion turtle cities across the world, meaning there are more humans. He decides to leave the forest and explore those cities. But during his travels, he comes across two massive spirits fighting each other very violently. Their battle is tearing the entire forest apart. One of the spirits desperately asks Juan for help.
She has tormented me for 10,000 years.
So without putting much thought into it, he helps the spirit, and it runs away. The other one immediately gets furious. She tells Juan that the spirit he just helped was Vaatu, the spirit of darkness and chaos, and introduces herself as Rava, the spirit of light and peace. She tells him that she has spent thousands of years keeping Vaatu imprisoned to maintain balance between light and darkness. But now, thanks to Juan, Vaatu is free. This means both the spirit world and human world are heading towards destruction. Meanwhile, through this spiritual connection, Korra finally knows who Rava is. Picking up right where we left off, Rava leaves Juan behind to deal with Vaatu herself and specifically tells him to stop interfering in matters beyond human understanding. Juan offers to help Rava defeat Vaatu, but she refuses and disappears into the spirit wilds. As Juan continues traveling through the wilds, he comes across a group of Airbenders who flee as soon as they see him. After chasing them down, Juan discovers another lion turtle city, this one granting the power of air to its people whenever they leave to hunt. Suddenly, dark spirits begin attacking the city as Vaatu's influence spreads across the world. Juan tries fighting them off, but things only calm down when Rava finally appears and purifies the spirits. Realizing the disaster he caused is much bigger than he imagined, Juan once again asks Rava to let him help. But in order to stand against Vaatu, Juan needs more power, so he asks the lion turtle to grant him airbending alongside fire. At first, the lion turtle refuses, explaining that no human has ever wielded more than one element before, but somehow, Juan convinces this one too. From there, Juan and Rava begin traveling across the world together, visiting other lion turtle cities where Juan gains the powers of water and earth as well. As they journey together, Rava helps Juan train and control all four elements. There's a problem. The stronger Vaatu becomes, the weaker Rava gets, with every dark spirit spreading in chaos across the world. Rava physically shrinks while Vaatu grows larger and more powerful. One day, Juan encounters a group of humans preparing to fight a group of spirits. Among them, he recognizes one of his old friends from his original city. At the same time, Juan also recognizes the spirits. They're the same ones who once gave him shelter in the wilds. Both sides believe the other one is evil, and a massive fight is about to break out. Juan tries desperately to stop them, and for a moment, it works. But then Vaatu corrupts the spirits again, and they all start to fight. Juan asks Rava to combine with him so they can fight together, and for the first time, Rava enters his body directly. But they still can't hold the fusion for very long without risking Juan's life. Soon after, Vaatu appears again, and warns Juan that Rava's too weak to stop him now, and pocket-sized Rava is also not really looking so great right now. Juan and Rava then journey toward the Southern Spirit Portal, where Rava explains the true danger approaching: Harmonic Convergence, an event that occurs once every 10,000 years when the barriers between spirits and humans weaken dramatically. If Vaatu wins during Harmonic Convergence, darkness will consume the world forever. So when the event finally begins, Juan stands before Vaatu himself.
Before you get to her, you'll have to go through me.
Vaatu completely overwhelms Juan, while Rava is still too weak to battle him alone. So finally, Juan and Rava permanently fuse together. As Harmonic Convergence reaches its peak, Juan channels all four elements at once and transforms into the very first avatar. Together, Juan and Rava defeat Vaatu and imprison him inside the spirit world. Afterward, Juan closes the spirit portal so no human can release Vaatu again. Eventually, all the spirits return to the spirit world, and Juan closes both the northern and southern portals. He declares that from now on, he alone will serve as the bridge between humans and spirits, and that's basically the Avatar origin story, fellas. Years later, we see an older Juan on a battlefield, devastated by war, realizing that despite all of his efforts, humanity is still consumed by conflict.
I'm sorry, Rava. I failed to bring peace.
But Rava comforts him, promising that they will continue this mission together throughout all of his future lives. As Juan's spirit fades into the sky, Korra finally awakens from the vision in the present day. Her memories have returned, and as she realizes what her uncle is really trying to do, he wants to free Vaatu, and the Harmonic Convergence is only weeks away. If she doesn't close the spirit portals in time, the entire world could fall into darkness. Now that Korra finally has her memories back, the first thing she does is return to the Southern Air Temple. First things first, Korra fills everyone in with everything that happened since they left. You know, the Civil War, her uncle turning out to be a power-hungry traitor, and that she met the first Avatar. She further explains that Harmonic Convergence is approaching fast, and she needs to enter the spirit world to close the portals from the inside before Unalaq frees Vaatu. Tenzin agrees to help her meditate into the spirit world. Meanwhile, Unalaq heads deeper into the spirit world himself alongside Eska and Desna. Originally he wanted Korra to free Vaatu, but now that he believes she's dead, he decides to handle things himself. Back in Republic City, Mako continues to try to convince Asami and Bolin that Varric is secretly behind the bombings and thefts. Neither one of them is believing him.
Let it go. Ah, no! I'm not going to let it go!
Back at the Air Temple, Korra and Tenzin begin meditating to enter the spirit world, but it looks like Tenzin is struggling. Every few minutes, he changes locations, complains about distractions, or blames someone else for ruining the atmosphere. Eventually, the truth comes out. Tenzin admits that he has never actually entered the spirit world before. Shocking, I know. Meanwhile, Kaya notices that Jinora has been talking to invisible creatures ever since they came to the temple, and suggests that perhaps she can help Korra spiritually instead of Tenzin. At first, Tenzin hesitates, but after a lot of convincing, wincing from everyone, he finally agrees to let Jinora help. Back in the city, Asami visits Mako to check up on him again. She suggests they both go out for dinner at the same place they had their first date. Mako agrees, saying he needs to take his mind off, and the two proceed to kiss again. Oh my god. Their moment is cut short when Lin Beifong and the police show up at his place. They accuse Mako of stealing Asami's property at the warehouse and start searching his house. To make things worse, they discover a bag full of money hidden in the apartment. Mako insists that he's being framed, but Lin arrests him anyway. Meanwhile, Jinora and Korra start meditating, and within minutes, they enter the spirit world. Unalaq tries very hard to break Vaatu free, but keeps failing. He reassures the evil spirit that he'll do whatever it takes to get him out of here since the Avatar is dead. However, Vaatu immediately feels her presence in the spirit world. Tenzin starts panicking almost immediately after Korra and Jinora enter the spirit world, not only because Jinora is still a child, but because deep down he feels like he should have been the spiritual guide instead. Meanwhile, Korra and Jinora continue their journey through the spirit world toward the portal. However, the spirits react to Korra's frustration. Jinora tells her to calm down, but soon they're both sucked up into the ground and are separated. Jinora wakes up in a garden where she meets her spirit bunny friend, and Korra wakes up in the wild surrounded by dark spirits. She grows worried over losing Jinora, and her fear turns her into her 4-year-old self. Many spirits try to attack her, but then a familiar old man appears.
You two look lost. Maybe I can help you. I was good friends with Avatar Aang.
Iroh takes Korra to his nice little hut, where as expected, he's throwing a tea party for the spirits. Old habits die hard, I guess. Iroh calms Korra down and explains that if she wants to find her friend, she should start by helping a lost bird reach her home. And where does the bird live? On top of the scariest mountain I've ever seen. It's gonna be very easy. Before Korra leaves, Iroh reminds her that the spirit world responds to inner balance. Basically, punching your problems just won't work here. With that, he bids farewell to Korra. She makes her way to the mountain. Meanwhile, Jinora arrives at Wan Shi Tong's ancient spirit library, hoping to find information about the portals and reunite with Korra. Unfortunately, Unalaq finds her first. On the mountain, Korra encounters more dark spirits, but she manages to calm them down with her positive energy. Once the bird reunites with her family, she fuses with her siblings to transform into one giant bird and takes Korra straight to the portal. There, Vaatu threatens Korra that he will soon be free and wipe her out, and then there will be darkness. And, the same thing he said like 600 times already. So Korra ignores him and proceeds to close the portal, but Unalaq shows up with Jinora. He forces Korra to open the north portal, otherwise he will take Jinora's soul. To save her friend, Korra's no option but to do as Unalaq says. So she agrees and opens the portal for him. However, Unalaq, like most bad guys, does not keep his word. He starts attacking Korra, and since Korra entered the spirit world through meditation instead of physically through a portal, she can't use her bending here. She's almost completely defenseless. Also, Jinora's bunny totally turns evil and then takes her away, while Unalaq keeps attacking Korra and almost kills her spirit when the same bird from the mountains appears and saves her life. Korra wakes up in the material world, shocked, traumatized. Tenzin asks her if she managed to close the portal, but all she can do is look at Jinora, who's still lost somewhere in the spirit world.
Why isn't she waking up? Korra, what happened to my little girl?
After Korra returns from the spirit world, Tenzin rushes Jinora back to the air temple, promises Pema that he will find a way to bring their daughter's spirit home. Meanwhile, back in Republic City, Bolin visits Mako in jail to cheer him up, or at least he tries.
I thought this would brighten up your new place.
Nuktuk says keep smiling.
Wow, I'm moved. Before Bolin leaves, Mako warns him to keep an eye on Varric because he's convinced the guy is planning something massive. Later that night, Varric hosts the grand premiere of Bolin's Mover, which is basically anti-Northern Water Tribe propaganda disguised as entertainment. Before the film begins, Varric gives a dramatic speech about standing on the right side of history and helping the Southern Water Tribe. Meanwhile, this man is secretly profiting from literally all of it. The movie becomes an instant hit with the audience, but Bolin doesn't seem very happy. Without his friends around, the entire thing suddenly feels empty to him. While stepping outside for some air, Bolin discovers several police officers locked inside a storage locker. The officers tell him some waterbenders are here to take the president. Bolin immediately gets to business. Using his full Nuktuk hero mode, Bolin fights off the attackers in sync with the action scenes playing inside the theater. The attackers tell Bolin they were sent by Varric. Finally, the truth comes out. Chief Lin arrests Varric, and Bolin saves the day, becoming a true hero. Back at the South Pole, Tunrak gives up waiting for Korra to bring help and decides it's time to get their city back. But Unalaq is prepared for them. He used the spirits to help him attack his brother and the rebels. Tunrak manages to catch up to him, but his powers are nowhere compared to his brothers. Unalaq absolutely demolishes Tunrak and tells him he's going to do the same to his daughter next. Lin explains to President Raiko that Varric planned the kidnapping to frame the Northern Water Tribe and force Republic City into the war. Right then, Korra and Tenzin arrive in the city. Korra once again begs President Raiko for help and explains that Unalaq plans to free Vaatu during Harmonic Convergence. But even after hearing this, Raiko still refuses to help. What in... never mind. So Team Avatar decides to handle things themselves. They first go get Mako, who receives a great welcome out of jail for being right about Varric. Lin also offers him the detective position, but he doesn't realize Korra's back. Yeah, Bolin, we I get it. We have some uncomfortable moments ahead. Anyway, Korra doesn't remember the fight she had with Mako thanks to all this spirit drama, and Mako pretends everything is fine. Everything except Asami's heart and my sanity. The team pays Varric a visit to recover Asami's mecha tanks. Instead, the guy gives him his warship loaded with not just Asami's properties, but so much more war equipment. Told ya, you just can't hate this guy. And with that, they head towards the south to stop Unalaq. Back at the Southern Water Tribe, Kaya desperately tries to bring Janora's spirit back into her body, but she can feel her slowly fading away. Meanwhile, Korra burns off her frustration by training aggressively on the ship, while Mako awkwardly watches from a distance. Bolin asks him if he told Korra about the breakup and the whole, kissing Asami again situation, and Mako says he's waiting for the right time. Oh my god, this guy sucks.
You know, a wise man once told me that delivering bad news to a girlfriend was like ripping off a blood-sucking leech.
When the group reaches the Southern Water Tribe, they discover Unalaq has completely taken over the compound and captured the Southern forces, including Korra's father. Tenzin leaves Janora in Katara's care and promises he'll bring her spirit back no matter what. Korra's mother also tells them that Unalaq has the Southern portal surrounded by troops. Everyone chips in their ideas on how to break in, including Bumi, who tends to get carried away with his stories from when he was the commander in the United Forces. Tenzin lashes out at him, telling him they don't have time for his stories. Asami suggests it's better if the team divides into two groups. Asami, Bolin, and Mako take Varric's plane from his ship and attack from the sky to clear the way, while Kaya, Bumi, Tenzin, and Korra follow on Ugi, Tenzin's flying bison, so they can enter the south portal easily. On paper, it's a perfect plan, and it does work in practice too for a little bit. Asami manages to destroy many troops until the plane finally crashes. The dark spirits also attack Ugi and weigh him down. Bumi tries to fight the spirit, but ends up falling down. Just like this, everybody gets captured. Unalaq arrives to congratulate everyone for making it this far. He shares that he does not just plan to set Vaatu free. In fact, at the Harmonic Convergence, he's going to fuse with Vaatu, just like Rava fused with Wan.
And together we will become the new Avatar, a dark Avatar.
If he manages to do this, a new world order of darkness and chaos will begin for the next 10,000 years. After he leaves for the spirit world, Tenzin begins blaming himself, thinking he will now lose his daughter forever. But Kaya reminds him Bumi is still out there, so there's hope. Tenzin, however, has very little faith in Bumi. However, somewhere deep in the snow, Bumi wakes up. He finds the dark spirit still beside him, and since he can't bend, he begins playing his flute. Surprisingly, this works. The spirit returns to his original friendly form, and moments later, Naga also joins Bumi, following the sounds of flute. Together with the spirit and Naga, Bumi arrives at the camp. He tries to use his flute to befriend the other spirits as well, but it doesn't work. So he jumps into a mecha tank, but the spirits fuse the circuits. The tank gets out of control, and somehow, Bumi ends up destroying the entire encampment of the northern troops alone. It's always the most underestimated guy. Anyway, Asami takes Tonraq back to Katara's healing hut because he's too injured to enter the spirit world. The rest of them enter the portal. Kaya, Bumi, and Tenzin head off to search for Janora's soul, while Mako, Bolin, and Korra go to stop Unalaq from freeing Vaatu. Korra tries to close the portal before the Harmonic Convergence so Vaatu can never be free, while Mako and Bolin try to hold Unalaq off. Korra almost closes the portal, but the Harmonic Convergence begins before she can close it. The northern and southern portals connect. The energy from the convergence floods across the entire world, and Vaatu finally breaks free from his prison. Oh boy. Now that Vaatu's finally free, Korra's only priority is to stop Unalaq from fusing with him. She enters her avatar state and throws Unalaq out of the portal. She tells Mako and Bolin to make sure he doesn't get back inside while she tries to lock Vaatu back in the Tree of Time. After dominating him in the fight for a while, Vaatu finally grips Korra and tries to get Rava's soul from her body. But before he can, Korra enters her avatar state once again and uses her powers to trap Vaatu in a bubble using all four elements, just like Avatar Wan did. Outside the portal, the brothers hold Unalaq off for a while, until the twins knock them out. Unalaq makes his way into the portal once again. Worst possible timing. As Korra's about to lock Vaatu back in the tree once and for all, Unalaq attacks her and sets Vaatu free once again. Mako and Bolin also enter the portal to stop Unalaq, but the twins freeze them both in ice. Korra attacks Unalaq again, but she's already too injured. Unable to do anything, everybody watches Vaatu fuse with Unalaq. He then takes the energy from the Harmonic Convergence and becomes the Dark Avatar, with Vaatu permanently binding with Unalaq's soul. Meanwhile, Tenzin, Bumi, and Kaya make their way in the forest to find Janora, but they keep going around in circles. This is when Iroh comes for their aid. He offers to help them out of the forest, but Tenzin tells him he's here to find his daughter. Iroh advises him to be careful. If they roam around the spirit world for long, they will end up at a place filled with lost souls. Tenzin figures out that's where Janora's soul must be, but since they don't know where this place is, he tricks a spider spirit into taking them there. Unalaq and Korra go head to head in the fight. Even though Unalaq can only bend water, he's still somehow so much more powerful than Korra. He absolutely destroys her and is about to sandwich her between the icy ground, but Rava encourages Korra not to give up.
Korra, this fight is not over.
With that, she's back, baby. She just needs some pep talk. Come on, some words of encouragement. Tenzin tells his siblings that they will need to stick together to find Jinora and leave as quickly as they can. If they spend too much time here, the fog will corrupt their mind and trap them in their worst memory forever. He uses a piece from his cloak to tie them together as they make their way. But soon, Kai and Bumi start talking rubbish. They untie themselves from Tenzin and wander off in the fog. Great, now he has to find 3 people in this fog of lost souls. On the other hand, Bolin confesses his love to Eska, saying he ran away only because he was scared of his feelings. Mako also encourages the twins to let them go since their father needs to be stopped or he'll be lost in the darkness forever. The twins think about it for a while, then Eska kisses Bolin, confessing her love to him, and also makes him promise that he'd marry him if they managed to come out of it alive. With that, she sets both him and Mako free, and they both run into the portal to help Korra. The twins also make their way in and watch as Korra and Unalaq fight each other. Unalaq grips Korra in, and Vaatu sucks Rava right out of Korra's body, leaving her on the ground helpless. In the fog of lost souls, Tenzin also starts losing his mind. He starts questioning himself, thinking he failed as a spiritual leader and as the Avatar's son. This is when Aang's soul shows up. He encourages Tenzin to not give up, tells him that he's proud of him. Then using his spiritual connection, Tenzin starts seeing clearly in the fog and finally sees Jinora. He takes her, Kaya, and Bumi, and they make their way out of the fog. Back at the portal, Unalaq proceeds to destroy Rava, and with every strike, Korra feels her connection to her past lives slowly fading away. With the final stroke, he loses connection with Avatar 1 as well, which means Rava is no more, which also means Korra is not an Avatar. With this, Vaatu and Unalaq turn into an evil giant monster, let's call it Unavaatu, and Jinora feels this energy and refuses to leave the spirit world just yet. Tenzin tries to stop her, but she gives him a light spirit saying it would guide them out of the spirit world, and she disappears to help Korra. Now fully transformed into the Dark Avatar, Unavaatu reaches the Republic City. Good thing the president has already called in the United Forces for help, only if this old man had done this earlier. Anyway, the forces failed to even stay a minute in front of the monster, and back at the Southern Spirit Portal, Tenzin finds Korra completely defeated emotionally. She tells him it's over. Rava is gone. The Avatar cycle is destroyed, and now she's the last Avatar. Tenzin refuses to let her give up. Using the same lesson Aang once taught him, he tells Korra to stop focusing on who she thinks she's supposed to be. Instead, focus on who she truly is. He then takes her to the Tree of Time and explains how ancient spiritual masters once meditated there to connect with the cosmic energy of the universe itself. Korra enters the tree and begins meditating deeply. During the meditation, she remembers something Rava once told Wan. Light and darkness can never fully destroy one another, because one cannot exist without the other. Finally, Korra connects with her cosmic spirit, and she emerges from the Tree of Time. She transforms into a massive blue spirit giant equal in size to Unavaatu himself. Yeah, okay, now we're talking. Gonna do like a kaiju fight or something. Meanwhile, Unavaatu continues wrecking the city with giant vines erupting from the ground. Taking advantage of the situation, Varric also flees to prison. Korra finally arrives in the city and attacks Unavaatu head on. The monster retaliates by blasting Korra with dark spiritual energy, slowly corrupting and destroying her spirit from within. And just when it looks like Korra is about to lose completely, Jinora appears carrying the light spirit. The light spreads around Unavaatu, disrupting the darkness and revealing the remaining traces of Rava still hidden inside of him. Using the opening Jinora created, Korra pulls Rava's spirit free from Unavaatu. Then, using the same spiritual purification technique Unalaq once taught her, Korra finally destroys Vaatu for good. As Harmonic Convergence comes to an end, Korra returns to the spirit portal and reunites with Rava, becoming the Avatar once again. Meanwhile, Jinora's spirit finally returns safely to her body, and Tenzin can finally breathe. After everything is over, Korra goes to comfort her cousins. She apologizes for their loss, saying she couldn't save their father since he was already fused with Vaatu.
Cousin Korra is under the impression we are saddened by our father's demise.
But I will not miss him at all.
Damn, ice cold. Meanwhile, Bolin nervously asks Eska what happens to their relationship now that the world didn't end after all. But Eska tells him she's got to return home, although she'll always love him. Toward the end, Korra makes one major decision. Instead of closing the spirit portals again, she chooses to leave them open so spirits and humans can coexist together moving forward, which means the world as we know it will permanently change. Mako finally talks to Korra about their fight, but she already remembers it now thanks to the Tree of Time. However, the two reach a conclusion that the relationship is not working out. They decide to finally break up for real this time, oh thank God. Lastly, Korra addresses the nation. She announces that the South will now officially become independent from the North, though both tribes will remain allies. She also tells everybody that she will no longer act as the bridge between human and spirits, and with that, Book 2, Spirits, comes to an end. Okay, the story picks up a few weeks after the Harmonic Convergence completely changed the world. The episode opens with Bumi chasing around his spirit bunny friend, who he calls Boomju, short for Bumi Jr. While chasing the bunny near a cliffside, Bumi accidentally slips and falls to his death, or at least he would have. Whoa. He could airbend all this time? But Avatar Aang is throwing a proud dad party in the spirit world right now. Bumi immediately rushes to tell Tenzin, but since this man takes 12 business days to finish one story, nobody initially takes him seriously. Meanwhile, back in the city, Korra and Tenzin are still trying to figure out a way to stop the vines from spreading across the city. No matter what she tries, the vines keep coming back. President Raiko and the citizens pretty upset since they now have to live through the consequences of Korra not closing the portal. Later that night at dinner, Tenzin's clearly overwhelmed. Thanks to the vines destroying their apartment, Bolin and Asami have shifted back to the island, and so have Bumi and Kaya. Meaning, Tenzin has officially lost every ounce of peace in his life. Poor guy just wants one quiet meal. Talking about Bumi, he keeps throwing his hands and legs around trying to airbend again, but hasn't been lucky again. Maybe it was just a one-time thing? We don't know. He asks everyone to throw something at him, suggesting maybe he can bend only under pressure. Literally, say less. Milo immediately throws his blade at him and whoa, Bumi can actually airbend. Yep, that's the only appropriate reaction to this. Mako, on the other end, has recently been sleeping at the police station because living on the island with both of his ex-girlfriends sounds like psychological warfare. Also, can we address that this guy has been in the same ripped undershirt since the beginning of the show? Ugh. Anyway, Mako receives a strange report and goes to investigate. The man tells him that his brother destroyed his apartment with airbending. Initially, Mako refuses to believe this man and tells him there are only 5 airbenders in the world, till he sees it for himself.
2.
Now, he believes. The next day, Mako and Lin share the news with Tenzin and find out about the whole Bumi airbending fiasco as well. Tenzin assumes this is happening because the world is changing after the portals were left open, and if that's true, there could be a lot more airbenders. Korra is still trying to figure out the whole vine situation in the city. She even attempts meditating to reconnect with her past lives, before remembering those are perhaps gone forever. With the public constantly criticizing her decision to leave the portals open, Korra begins doubting herself more and more. But Tenzin reminds her that she made the best choice she could at the time, and the world now needs to adapt to this new era. Just as he's giving Korra a much-needed pep talk, Bolin suddenly barges in announcing that the new airbender Daw is causing chaos downtown. Korra and Tenzin rush over and find the terrified man standing on top of a bridge, accidentally blasting air everywhere. Korra manages to calm him down and explains that Tenzin can help him understand his new powers. But before things can improve, President Raiko publicly banishes Korra from Republic City, blaming her for all the strange changes that are happening. If there was an award for being painfully annoying, this guy would win it every year hands down. Meanwhile, far away in a remote mountain prison, we meet a mysterious inmate named Zahir. The prison and the location make it very clear that this guy is not a usual criminal. When the guards bring him food, he casually starts dropping in his philosophical thoughts. Something airbends to trap the guards. He steals their keys and escapes the prison almost effortlessly. Just like Daw and Bumi, he's a new airbender too, and most likely our new villain. Freshly banned from Republic City, Korra jumps onto a new mission: find the world's new airbenders and rebuild the Air Nation. Asami arrives with a massive airship for the journey while everyone prepares to leave the island. Before takeoff, Mako gives Korra a map marked with every reported sighting of new airbenders around the world.
Of course, Korra. Avatar, Korra.
Yeah, the breakup is still painfully awkward. Korra asks Mako to join the trip, but he once again hides behind vague work responsibilities. Somehow, Bolin does convince him to join. More like emotionally blackmails him, but that's okay. The plan is simple: travel across the Earth Kingdom, recruit new airbenders, then bring everybody to the Northern Air Temple for training. Unfortunately, nobody wants to join. Every time Tenzin gives his hopeful little Air Nation speech, people slam doors in his face, so the recruitment success rate is now basically 0. Meanwhile, Zahir continues his little prison break world tour. This time, he arrives at another remote prison holding a dangerous lava bender named Gazan. Using his new airbending skills, Zahir breaks Gazan out with terrifying ease. Together, the two attack yet another high-security prison. There, they meet Minghua, a deadly waterbender born without arms, who uses water as replacement limbs.
You busted me out before that girlfriend of yours.
We're getting her next.
Oh, great. There's another one. Back on the airship, morale is dropping fast after repeated failures to recruit anybody. Bolin suggests solving the problem with a street performance. Now, under kind of normal circumstances, Tenzin would have rejected this idea just immediately. But this man's getting pretty desperate. So the team performs in the middle of a village, and surprisingly, the crowd actually loves it. Right up until Bolin asks the new airbenders to join the team, and just like that, the crowd disappears. Everyone except for a young boy named Kai. He reveals he recently gained airbending abilities and claims that he's being chased by dangerous outlaws who killed his parents. Feeling sorry for him, the group welcomes him aboard. But just as they're preparing to leave, several men on motorcycles arrive, demanding Kai be handed over. Kai urges Korra to leave ASAP, as these men are the outlaws trying to kill him, but Korra decides to teach them a lesson and beats them up. Now, unfortunately, the men turn out to be local law enforcement. They reveal Kai's actually a thief. Mako catches him trying to escape with a bag full of stolen gold from his adoptive family. Still, Kai begs Korra for another chance, insisting he wants to become a better person after receiving airbending. After some hesitation, Korra does allow him to stay, though Mako very clearly lets the kid know that he's going to be watching him very closely. Toward the end, we we see Fire Lord Zuko investigating one of the destroyed prisons. Realizing multiple dangerous criminals are being freed one by one, he urgently sends a warning to Tunrock, alerting him about an incoming attack on the Water Tribe prison, and to Lin Beifong, asking her to keep the Avatar safe. The group continues their journey towards Ba Sing Se, the capital of the Earth Kingdom. Along the way, Jinora helps her uncle and Kai practice some airbending moves, and I'm pretty sure Jinora has a crush on this kid. But when they finally arrive in the Earth Kingdom capital, it's not exactly the grand city they imagined. The place is split into lower, middle, and upper rings. The rich live comfortably in the upper ring, while everybody else just kind of survives. At the very top of it all sits the Earth Queen. The group is welcomed by the Queen's secretary, Gun, who shows everybody their rooms before taking Korra to meet the Queen herself, and wow, she somehow manages to make Tarlok look pleasant. Korra explains that she needs help finding the new airbenders in the city, but the Queen claims there are no airbenders in Ba Sing Se. Then, before offering any help, she sends Korra on a side quest to recover stolen tax money from a nearby vault because the barbarians keep stealing it. Meanwhile, the rest of the group realizes that Kai is missing. Mako and Bolin head into the city to look for him and find him using airbending to pickpocket people.
Thank you, young man. What a strange, sudden breeze.
They chase after him, but he outsmarts them, and great. Now they're stuck on a train to God knows where. They get off on the next stop, try to go back to the upper ring. Guess what? Kai stole their wallets too. So now they're forced to spend the night on the street, just like the old days. Korra and Asami arrive to get the tax money, and so do the barbarians. After a fight, Korra manages to scare them off. Before they leave, they tell Korra that she's on the wrong side. The money belongs to the citizens, not the Queen. Something tells Korra they might be right. She arrives back at the palace with the money, and asks the Queen to help find the airbenders now. She once again denies having any airbenders in the city, and advises the people to leave at the earliest. But Korra snaps. She tells her she's not going anywhere before she finds the airbenders. The next morning, Mako and Bolin are extremely hungry. Bolin suggests they steal some fruit like they used to back in the day, but the fruit vendor hears them saying this. He attacks them, both thinking they plan to steal from him, and calls his father, but somehow he recognizes Mako and Bolin.
You'll never believe who these guys are. They're your cousins!
Oh, whoa. Not a family reunion I was expecting. He takes them home, where the brothers meet the rest of their father's family and their grandmother, Yin. Sadly, no one knew that their parents were killed a long time ago. Apparently, their father once sent a letter to his family with their pictures and names, informing them he got married to a beautiful woman from the Fire Nation and had 2 boys. Later at dinner, the brothers tell everybody they're with the Avatar on a mission to find new airbenders. But their uncle tells them that every new airbender in this city has been captured by the Queen to serve in her army. Mako and Bolin spend some time with their grandmother, who tells them a few things about their father. Mako gives his scarf to her as a gift, and they get going. Meanwhile, Kai, who's been pickpocketing using his airbending, gets captured and thrown into a cell with other airbenders. Meanwhile, back at the Northern Water Tribe, Tunrock and Lord Zuko arrive to inspect a secret prison hidden deep beneath the ice. Eska and Desna, who now rule the Northern Tribe after their father, are unbelievably bored with royal life. They get weirdly excited about getting a tour to the secret prison that they knew nothing about. Zuko explains that years ago, he and Tunrock built this place to hold one of the most dangerous criminals alive. Pili, a firebender capable of creating explosions with her mind. The freezing temperatures weaken her firebending, making escape nearly impossible. Everything seems secure, but Pili suspects her boyfriend is on his way to get her out.
I'm feeling warmer already.
Man, I can tell that she is the scariest one of them all. Zahir makes his way to the prison to free his girlfriend. Tunrock and Zuko try to hold him off, but Minghua manages to sneak down to Pili and set her free. The two make their way back up and help Zahir and Ghazan overpower Tunrock and Zuko before finally escaping together. Pili reunites with Zahir.
I thought I'd never see you again.
I never doubted.
Meanwhile, Mako and Bolin arrive back at the upper ring to alert Korra about the Queen's plan and also how they just met their long-lost family. Jinora starts getting worried about Kai since he's still missing. The group decides they need to rescue the airbenders, and there's a problem. They have no idea where the Queen is hiding them. This is when Jinora suggests doing a spiritual search, just like she did during Harmonic Convergence. Tenzin and Korra take Jinora somewhere peaceful so she can meditate and connect with Kai's energy, and she instantly finds him. Turns out the airbenders are being held right underneath the Queen's temple. The group immediately starts planning a rescue mission. But right in the middle of it all, Lin Beifong shows up. She tells Korra that she needs to leave with her ASAP for a public city as her life is in danger.
Zahir and the others have escaped.
Completely unaware of who Zahir even is, Korra refuses to leave before helping the airbenders, so Tenzin explains everything. Years ago, shortly after Korra was revealed as the Avatar, Zahir and his group tried to kidnap her, but Tunrock, Zuko, Chief Sokka, and Tenzin stopped them and locked each of them away in special prisons designed to weaken their bending ability. Now, all of them are free again. Korra understands the depth of the situation, but says she'd only return after rescuing the airbenders. Later that night, the team breaks into the compound. Tenzin, Korra, and Bumi head underground to free the airbenders while Mako, Bolin, and Jinora go looking for Kai.
Whoa! Tenzin's not gonna be happy about this.
The Queen's army get in the way of the Airbenders escaping, and after blowing flight, Team Avatar manages to run away into the airships. Once they reach safety, Tenzin tells the new Airbenders that they're free to go back to their normal lives if they would like, but if they choose to, they can come with him to the Northern Air Temple, learn the ways of the Air Nomads, and help rebuild the Air Nation. Surprisingly, almost all of them agree, so Tenzin takes the new Airbenders to begin their training, while Korra leaves for Republic City with Lin. Before parting ways, everyone says their goodbyes, and Tenzin reminds Korra to stay safe. Asami tells Korra she heard reports about a new Airbender in a city called Zaofu, home of the Metal Clan. Lin says she's never been to the place, and urges Korra to get back to Republic City with her. But Korra doesn't listen and pleads that they meet this new Airbender, so that's what they do. When they reach the city, everybody seems excited, except for Lin. She stays back at the ship and tells Korra to get the Airbender quickly so that they can leave. They're greeted by a man named Aiwei, who tells them that the Airbender's mother would like a word with the Avatar first. Korra meets the woman who introduces herself as Suin, or Su for short. Aiwei tells Su that there's someone else in the airship with them as well. Upon asking, Korra reveals that it's the chief of police Lin Beifong who came with them. Su is shocked after hearing this, saying Lin came all this way to Zaofu and didn't even come to say hi. Korra asks if she knows Lin, and Su replies,
Lin never told you about me.
No? Why would she?
I'm Lin's sister.
Ah, more family drama. Meanwhile, back at the Air Temple Island, Miko and Iki show the new airbenders around the temple. Suddenly, a man named Yoru shows up saying he just started airbending and heard this is the place to be. Wait a minute, it's Zahir, with a new shaved look. Not gonna lie, he looked better with the hair and the beard. Back in Zaofu, Su goes to meet Lin, who immediately corrects her by saying they are half-sisters. Same mom, different dads. Apparently, they haven't spoken in 30 years. Su introduces everybody to her daughter, Opal, the new airbender, and insists Korra stay a few days to help train her. Lin argues that dangerous criminals are actively hunting Korra, but Su reassures everybody that Zaofu is the safest city in the world, so Korra agrees to stay. She starts helping Opal learn airbending basics, while Bolin instantly develops the biggest crush imaginable. Zahir, who infiltrated the Air Temple Island, joins the training session, where Milo is absolutely roasting the new recruits for being terrible at airbending. Zahir steps up and effortlessly passes through the spinning gates like a leaf, immediately impressing everybody. A little too much, honestly. After that, he starts asking questions about Korra, where she is. Kaya starts to feel something is very off about this guy. Back at Zaofu, everyone joins Su for dinner at her place, but Lin and Su keep arguing every 5 seconds. But then, someone unexpected shows up to break the tension. Varric. Yeah, no one's happier than Bolin. Varric explains that after escaping prison, he came to Zaofu with a new business idea and is now working on high-speed rail systems and magnets. This guy is something else. But the peace doesn't last long because Lin gets annoyed again and storms off from the table. Su later tells Korra that she and Lin never had a normal childhood. The two fought constantly until Su eventually left to explore the world, while Lin stayed behind and became a police officer just like her mom. Korra asks Opal to talk to Lin, hoping maybe she has a soft spot for her niece, but surprisingly, or maybe unsurprisingly, Lin snaps at Opal so bad that she breaks down crying and leaves. Even Korra gets frustrated, says some harsh things to Lin before walking away too. When she leaves, Lin completely breaks down, and I genuinely never thought I would see it. Meanwhile, back at the Air Temple, Zahir sneaks into Tenzin's study looking for anything that could lead him to Korra, but Kaya catches him and finally recognizes him as Zahir. She attacks him immediately, but after a fight, he manages to escape. Just like the name suggests, this one is all about restoring old relationships. Su offers to teach Korra metal bending, and Bolin joins the training too. Meanwhile, Lin keeps scolding everybody she sees. Aiwei points out that maybe, just maybe, she is holding on to 30 years of anger. He warns her that if she keeps bottling everything up, it could destroy both her health and her career, and convinces her to see an acupuncturist. Somehow, she actually agrees to this. During the treatment, Lin starts reliving the memories of what happened between her and Su. Turns out, Lin was always the responsible older sister, while Su was the rebellious one, constantly getting into trouble. One day, Lin catches Su helping her rich friends during a robbery and threatens to arrest her. While trying to escape, Su accidentally strikes Lin across the face, leaving the scars that she still has today. Later, Toph breaks up the fight and orders Su to leave the city. But instead of feeling justice was served, Lin grows resentful, believing Toph protected Su and eventually resigned from her position because of everything that happened. Ever since then, Lin's basically been carrying around the unresolved anger and resentment. With all those emotions resurfacing again, Lin storms into Su's metal bending training session and the sisters start fighting. Literally. At the end, Lin collapses. The next day, however, she wakes up in a very good mood.
Good morning.
She first sees Opal and apologizes for her behavior. The two make up, and then Opal also makes up her mind that she should be training at the Northern Air Temple. At last, Su and Lin finally make peace with each other, letting go of their old wounds after 30 years. Given Lin's temperament, pretty massive growth. Meanwhile, Zahir and his crew are wanted criminals at Republic City now. While trying to cross the border, they hijack a van, get caught by the police, fight their way out, and escape again, because apparently prisons and law enforcement just don't work on these people. Later, Zahir meditates and uses his spiritual connection to locate Korra, and unfortunately for Team Avatar, He now knows she's in Zaofu. At the Northern Air Temple, the new recruits are already getting tired of Tenzin constantly lecturing them about old monks, air nomad culture, and spirituality. Kaya and Pema arrive with more recruits, and Kaya informs Tenzin about Zahir attacking the Air Temple. Around the same time, Korra radios Tenzin just to catch up and tells him that Lin's niece Opal is also a new airbender and will soon be joining them at the temple. Tenzin, however, has bigger problems. The recruits have zero discipline and clearly don't care about training as much as he does. So the next morning, he decides to go full airbender boot camp mode. He wakes everybody up at dawn, drags them on exhausting hikes, and forces them to meditate while everyone silently regrets becoming airbenders in the first place. Jinora suggests maybe he should ease up a little bit, but Tenzin refuses. Meanwhile, Kai and Jinora are getting closer, and they honestly look adorable together. They sneak away to visit the baby sky bison, and Kai tells Jinora that she would have made a much better teacher than Tenzin, but Tenzin keeps pushing everyone harder and harder until Boomy finally quits training altogether. The other recruits also start asking when they can go home, which completely frustrates Tenzin. He tells Jinora to take over basic training for the recruits, but she gets upset because Tenzin refused to give her the airbending tattoos while expecting her to act like a master. So now she's mad too and storms off. But Tenzin is not missing Korra at all. Kai tries cheering Jinora up by taking her to see the baby sky bison again. When they arrive, the bison and the spirits are gone. Before they can even process this, a group of thugs capture both of them, saying the Earth Queen would pay very well for airbenders. Meanwhile, back at the temple, Pema convinces Tenzin that maybe screaming ancient traditions at confused civilians isn't the best teaching method. Tenzin tries apologizing to Boomy, but Boomy straight up tells him he doesn't want to talk right now. It's fair enough. At the same time, Jinora contacts the spirit and asks it to warn Boomjo that she's in danger. Boomjo informs Boomy, and since Tenzin isn't around, Boomy steps up to lead the recruits on a rescue mission. Surprisingly, they actually do pretty well. The new airbenders work together to rescue Jinora and Kai, but one thug still escapes with Jinora in a moving van. Kai chases after it, and Tenzin, who spots everything while flying nearby on Oogie, jumps in to help too. Together, they finally save her. Afterward, Tenzin and Jinora make up, and Tenzin admits he'll seriously consider giving her the airbending tattoos. By the end of it all, the recruits finally understand what being an airbender truly means, and for the first time, they actually start taking their training seriously. Tenzin and Boomy also sort out their differences.
I never really felt like I was part of the Air Nation before.
You are now.
Korra continues practicing metal bending with Su's sons, and finally starts getting the hang of it. There it is, people, the world's very first metal bending avatar. Woohoo! After lunch, Opal leaves for the Northern Air Temple, while Lin tells the group they'll head back to Republic City first thing in the morning. Later that night, Zahir and his gang sneak into Zaofu. Pabu keeps trying to wake Bolin up, but this man sleeps like he pays no taxes and has no enemies. Meanwhile, Minghua quietly cuts through Korra's window using her ice arms. Naga wakes up, but the group knocks both her and Korra out using paralyzing darts before escaping as quietly as they came in. But before they can, Pabu finally manages to wake Bolin up, and he and Mako rush to save Korra, triggering a massive fight across the compound. Within minutes, Su's peaceful little metal city turns into an all-out battlefield. Lin and Su manage to trap Zahir's group in metal, and for a second, it actually looks like they've won. But then, Gazan melts the entire floor into lava. Su suggests that she and Lin can attack from above and save Korra, but Bolin will have to hit right at Poli's third eye. The plan works, and they successfully save Korra. Realizing they failed the mission, Zahir and the team back off and disappear. Aiwei gives Korra an antidote to reverse the paralysis, while Lin gets mad at Su for letting this happen. Su insists this had to be an inside job, promises to interrogate every single guard. The next day, Aiwei begins questioning the guards because this man apparently doubles as a human lie detector. Eventually, he points out one guard who seems suspicious. They search his room and find evidence that makes him look like the traitor, but Mako's detective instincts kick in, and he's convinced the guy must be innocent. While the group debates how none of this is adding up, Varric casually jumps in.
If I was trying to set someone up, I would tell everyone he's guilty, and then plant the evidence in his apartment as proof.
Suddenly, everything starts making sense. So the group heads to Aiwei's place and secretly breaks in while he's away. Inside, Mako discovers a hidden passage behind a bookshelf. But of course, Aiwei walks in at the worst possible moment. He calmly offers to talk over tea before sprinting through the secret tunnel. When Korra and the others chase after him, they find a massive bomb waiting for them, and it explodes instantly. Thankfully, Korra saves everybody by shielding them with an airbending sphere. Lin and Su arrive moments later, and Su is absolutely devastated after realizing the man she trusted most in Zaofu was the actual traitor the whole time. She sends guards after Aiwei immediately. After all this, Lin has officially had enough and orders Korra to return to Republic City immediately. But Korra refuses because Aiwei could lead them straight to Zahir. For once though, Su agrees with Lin and tells Korra she needs to leave now. So Korra reluctantly agrees and prepares to head back to the city. Later that night, Su secretly shows up and tells the group to go after Aiwei and get him back. She hands them the car keys and says she'll deal with Lin in the morning herself. And here we go again. Korra, Mako, Bolin, and Asami Asami begin tracking down Aiwei. Along the way, they stop at a remote town and discover wanted posters of themselves everywhere. Turns out the Earth Queen officially declared them criminals for stealing her airbenders. Yeah, because what she was doing was not kidnapping at all. The group eventually reaches a mountain area where they find Aiwei's jeep abandoned nearby. Mako suggests Korra and Asami stay behind while he and Bolin investigate Misty Palms Oasis, the closest town in the area. Meanwhile, back in Zaofu, Lin finds out Korra secretly left to hunt Aiwei down, and as expected, she's absolutely furious. Back at the oasis, Mako and Bolin ask around until they finally spot Aiwei casually sitting there eating noodles. They follow him to an inn while Asami searches through his jeep and finds a map with a note saying Aiwei is supposed to meet Zahir at sundown. The only problem is they can't figure out the location, so the group rents a room directly across from Aiwei's and waits for him to leave, but he never does. As sundown approaches, Korra completely loses patience and storms into his room herself. But when they enter, Aiwei is just sitting there perfectly still.
That's a weird way to nap.
He's not sleeping. He's meditating.
And that's when it clicks. Aiwei was never meeting Zahir in the physical world. He was meeting him in the spiritual world. Korra starts to meditate as well, and enters the spirit world where she sees Zahir interrogating Aiwei, asking if he's been compromised. And he seems pretty pissed about his little kidnapping attempt turning out to be a failure. Before he could harm Aiwei, Korra comes forward. Dumb move, honestly. As soon as Zahir sees her, he disappears and throws Aiwei in the fog of lost souls. After taking care of loose ends, he appears in front of Korra again. Since neither of them can bend in the spirit world because they enter through meditation, Zahir agrees to answer all of Korra's questions. However, in hindsight, it is a trap. He alerts his gang in the material world about Korra's location and tells them to get her while he keeps her busy in the spirit world. But how is this guy such a pro? He literally just started airbending like a week ago. Zahir explains that he's part of an ancient secret society called the Red Lotus, whose goal is to restore true freedom to the world. According to him, the White Lotus lost its purpose after the 100-Year War when it chose to serve the Avatar instead of remaining independent. One member, Zai Bao, disagreed with this decision and formed the Red Lotus instead. Zahir then reveals that Unalaq was also part of the Red Lotus and that kidnapping Korra as a child was originally his idea. They wanted to teach her about spirits and reshape the world through her, or in simpler terms, completely brainwash her into doing what they want. Zahir also explains that Unalaq betrayed the group years ago, leaving them imprisoned while he chased his own goal of becoming the Dark Avatar. Unlike Unalaq, though, Zahir claims he only wants to destroy corrupt governments and restore natural order to the world. He points at leaders like President Raiko and the Earth Queen as proof that world leaders only create corruption and division. Korra argues that removing all world leaders would only create chaos, but Zahir calls that chaos freedom. Meanwhile, back in the real world, Mako spots Gazan and Minghua approaching. He tells Asami to take Korra's unconscious body and keep her safe while he and Bolin hold the Red Lotus off. The brothers actually put up a decent fight, but Minghua eventually knocks both of them out while Gazan goes after Asami and Korra. Before leaving the spirit world, Korra asks Zahir one final question. What exactly does he plan to do with her if he captures her? But Zahir only smiles and says she'll find out very soon, before disappearing. When Korra finally wakes up, she realizes she and Asami have already been captured, but not by Zahir, but the Earth Queen. Now they're both being transported back to Ba Sing Se. Meanwhile, Mako and Bolin wake up captured by the Red Lotus, and the gang decides they're heading to Ba Sing Se too to rescue Korra themselves. The episode starts with Korra and Asami being transported back to the Earth Kingdom. Meanwhile, Zahir and his gang also make their way to Ba Sing Se with Mako and Bolin as prisoners. However, this ride is anything but boring thanks to Bolin.
Your mustache grew in when you were 10, and I'm sensing an unspoken attraction between you two.
0 survival skills. Once they arrive, Zahir offers the Earth Queen a deal. If she hands Korra over to him, he'll reveal where all the captured airbenders are being held. Since openly capturing the Avatar would probably start a war with the other nations, the Queen agrees. Mako and Bolin are thrown into the prison while everyone waits for Korra's airship to arrive. Only that airship is not arriving anytime soon. Asami breaks herself free from the metal restraints and tricks one of the guards into handing over the keys. Korra then storms into the control room to stop the guards, but accidentally destroys the controls in the process, which immediately sends the entire airship crashing straight into the desert. However, the captain manages to send a message to Ba Sing Se about the crash. Meanwhile, back in prison, Mako encourages Bolin to try metal bending their way out, but Bolin just can't do it. At the same time, Lin follows the jeep tracks left behind by Korra's group and discovers the vehicles Sue secretly gave them. She radios Tunrock and asks him to meet her at Misty Palms Oasis. Back in the desert, Korra convinces the guards to help repair the crashed airship so that they can get out of the desert. But the moment she's ready to fly, a desert creature tears it apart. Now they have no option but to wait for the Queen's airship. Asami suggests collecting the metal pieces and building a sand sleigh, which sounds like a stupid idea, but given that these scary creatures are around, everyone prefers getting to work instead of waiting for the next airship. And what an engineer Asami is. She actually does build an awesome ride from the scrap. Meanwhile, Zahir overhears the guards telling the Queen about the airship crash and Korra trying to escape. Knowing she most likely won't be arriving anytime soon, Zahir takes matters into his own hands. He takes the Queen down, as she deserved, releases all the captured inmates, and announces that the Earth Kingdom has no ruler anymore. He tells the citizens they're free to do whatever they want from now on. And with that, the entire city falls into chaos, with people looting and riots everywhere. Korra and Asami make their way to the Misty Palm Oasis, where she's reunited with her father Lin and Lord Zuko. She tells them all about Red Lotus, and finds out about Zahir taking the queen down. At the end, we see Zahir telling Mako and Bolin that he's going to release them both, wants them to deliver a message to the Avatar. Mako and Bolin escape the palace while Ba Sing Se falls into complete chaos. The entire city is being looted and burned after Zahir took down the Earth Queen. The brothers steal an airship, and while escaping, they decide to help their family still trapped in the city. Once they get everyone, they all make it out of the city in time. In the desert, they see a trail of Asami's sand sleigh and follow it to the Misty Palm Oasis. There they meet Korra and the others, and Bolin is blown away to meet Lord Zuko.
Oh my gosh, it's Lord Zuko! I can't believe it!
Anyway, Mako tells Korra that Zahir let them go intentionally so they could deliver his message to Korra. He wants her to turn herself in. Otherwise, he's going to wipe the new Air Nation out, and that's exactly where he's headed as they speak. Everyone gets back to Zaofu to radio Tenzin about the incoming, but fail to reach him. Su suggests taking their airships and the Metal Clan forces. However, even if they leave now, they won't be able to reach there in time. But they start preparing the ships anyway. Meanwhile, Korra decides to meditate and enter the spirit world, assuming she might find Zahir there, since he's always meditating. She doesn't find him, but meets someone else. Iroh. Korra tells him about the whole Zahir situation and says she wants to talk to Aang to get his guidance right now, but the Harmonic Convergence has severed her connection to her past lives. Iroh tells Korra that she should perhaps talk to his nephew Zuko, since he was one of the closest friends of Aang and might help her in some way. So she does exactly this. Lord Zuko tells Korra that nothing meant more to Aang than rebuilding the Air Nation, and for that, he would have done anything. But as the Avatar, he cared for all nations equally.
Your uncle was right. It was helpful talking to you.
You spoke with my uncle?
Mako arrives to give news that they finally got through to the Air Temple. On the other side, Milo is talking. Korra orders him to get his father immediately. Korra tells Tenzin to evacuate the temple as soon as possible because Zahir is on his way, but it's too late. He's already there. Tenzin immediately orders everybody to evacuate, but Zahir and the Red Lotus quickly surround the temple. Zahir promises he'll spare everybody if Korra turns herself in, but Tenzin refuses to betray Korra. Instead, he tells Jinora and Kai to get the new Airbenders to the Sky Bison while he, Bumi, and Kaya hold the Red Lotus off. Kai and Jinora lead everybody toward the bridge, but Pali cuts them off. Kai distracts her long enough for Jinora and the others to escape, but ends up badly injured and falls from the cliff. Thanks to all the chaos Pali creates, all the bison get scared and fly away. Kaya and Bumi also fail to hold up against Minghua and Kazan and end up falling from the temple, badly injuring themselves. Kai wakes up at the edge of a cliff, hanging by a tree, where he's rescued by the baby bison he used to visit during his practice. At last, all three of them collectively attack Tenzin, and it doesn't look like he can stand it any longer, so I guess it really is over. Korra decides to turn herself in and save the Airbenders. She radios Zahir, who tells her to meet him at the top of the Guru Lahima temple. Once she's with him, her friends can go and get the Airbenders at the Northern Air Temple. Tonrak, Lin, and the others advise Korra to not go alone, since he can't really trust somebody like Zahir. Su suggests breaking into two teams. Mako, Bolin, and Asami go to the North Temple. Meanwhile, the rest wait below the Guru Lahima temple to help Korra if something goes wrong. Lin tells Mako to radio them as soon as they retrieve the Airbenders, and then they will attack Zahir to save Korra. However, when they reach the Air Temple, the Airbenders they see are just props. Except for Tenzin, doesn't look very good either. Zahir had already moved the rest of them out of the temple somewhere. The moment Zahir captures Korra, he orders Minghua and Kazan to take everybody out. Mako immediately radios Korra, telling her that they've been trapped and Zahir has double-crossed them. Korra pushes him away, and together with Su, Lin, Tonrak, and the Middle Clan, they attack Zahir and his third-eye girlfriend. Su and Lin successfully take Pali down. However, Zahir somehow unlocks a new level of airbending. He pushes Korra's father down the mountain, takes an injured Korra on his shoulder, and starts to fly away. One of the Metal Clan captains manages to save Tonrak, while Zahir flees. On the other hand, Kazan lava bends the entire air temple, leaving the rest of them trapped as the place literally starts to collapse. Bolin tries holding the lava back, but the temple is seconds away from coming down. Tenzin says he knows another way out, and takes the group to an underground secret passage. It's not long until they reach a dead end with lava closing in. Looks like it's all over for these four, when suddenly, Bolin lava bends and cools it down.
Incredible.
You're a lava bender. I know.
Ooh. Kai arrives with his baby bison to rescue the groups, and they make their way to the rest of them, as the temple crumbles apart behind them. Back at the top of the Guru Lahima temple, Tonrak thanks the captain who saved his life.
You can call me Kuvira.
Yeah, Kuvira. Remember the name, people, because this one's definitely gonna come back. Tenzin and the others join the rest on the mountain. Kai tells everybody that he followed the airship when the Airbenders were being transferred and knows where they are, and maybe Korra is there as well. Soon, Oogie also arrives, and everyone makes their way to the caves. However, somewhere down in those caves, inside a crystal mine, Zahir has chained Korra up and threatens to poison her. Zahir administers the poison on Korra's body and reveals his final plan. Once the poison forces Korra into the Avatar state, the Red Lotus will kill her, ending the Avatar cycle once and for all. But using using all her strength, Korra resists the change. Jinora witnesses all of this in her spirit state. When she's back, she tells everybody that Korra might not be coming for their help, and they would have to do something on their own. Right then, the rest of the group arrives at the caves. They immediately go to find the Airbenders and rescue them all.
Oh, honey, I'm so glad you're safe.
Me too.
Damn, bro, slow down. Jinora tells everybody she saw where Korra is, and Tonraq, Mako, and Bolin go to rescue her. Down in the mines, as Korra enters her avatar state fully, she grows powerful enough to break free from the chains and unleashes attacks on everybody. Zahir flies out of the cave, and Korra follows him. Tonraq also follows Korra out while the brothers stay behind to deal with Kazan and Minghua. Tenzin reunites with his family, the Airbenders, as Korra and Zahir battle in the air. Mako manages to defeat Minghua by electrocuting her through the water, while Kazan brings the entire cave down around them to bury everybody alive. But right before everything collapses, Bolin saves both himself and Mako using earthbending, leaving Kazan trapped under the rubble. Meanwhile, high above the mountains, the poison finally starts weakening Korra. Zahir gains the upper hand and begins suffocating her by airbending the oxygen out of her lungs. Just when it looks like it's over, Jinora leads the new Airbenders into forming a massive tornado-like wind cycle that disrupts Zahir and drags both him and Korra back down. Korra regains consciousness just long enough to wrap her broken chains around Zahir and slam him into the ground. Lin immediately captures him, and finally, the Red Lotus is defeated. But Korra collapses right after. Zahir proudly declares that he already won, that the world's new order has begun. Jinora then realizes the poison Zahir used was metal-based, and quickly tells Sue. Using her metal bending, Sue manages to pull the poison out of Korra's body and finally save her life. With that, Korra is saved. So are the Airbenders.
Chaos is the natural order of all. Whoa.
Classic Bolin. A few weeks later, Asami is helping Korra get ready for Jinora's ceremony. However, Korra doesn't look very well. In fact, she's in a wheelchair. Turns out she hasn't been able to recover fully after the poison was taken out of her body. Everyone tries comforting her and tells her that she's going to get better, but honestly, nothing really seems to reach her. At the ceremony, Tenzin officially names Jinora an airbending master for bravely leading the Air Nation during the crisis. And yes, she finally gets her tattoos. Tenzin also thanks Korra for rebuilding the Air Nation and once again, saving the world. Seeing Korra tear up after everything she went through this season definitely hurts a little bit, but yeah, that's where book 3 comes to an end. Okay, the story takes a 3-year leap from where things ended, and a lot has changed during that time. Team Avatar is basically split up as everyone moved on with their own lives, but today they're all gathering again in Republic City for the coronation of Prince Wu, the next king of the Earth Kingdom. During these 3 years, Republic City has become even better thanks to Asami and future industries. There's now a railway connecting the city to the Earth Kingdom and several remote states. Asami still running the company while also trying to survive Prince Wu constantly flirting with her. Speaking of Prince Wu, this man does not look ready to rule an entire kingdom. I mean, look at him. Mako is now working as Wu's personal bodyguard, and honestly, with the haircut, I barely recognized him at first, but safe to say, he's completely exhausted by Wu's non-stop stupidity. Meanwhile, Bolin has joined Kuvira and her united forces. Now, the same Kuvira who saved Tonraq last season. After leaving Zaofu, she began traveling across the Earth Kingdom, taking unstable states under her control and protecting them from bandits and chaos. Meanwhile, the Air Nation is spread across the world, helping wherever they can. Kai and Opal are sent to one Earth Kingdom state, struggling with constant bandit attacks and food shortages. They manage to stop some of the bandits, but the governor doesn't think 2 teenage airbenders can really make a difference. Right then, Kuvira arrives in the city, and let's just say Opal is not very happy to see her. Turns out Opal doesn't agree with the way Kuvira operates. Some people see Kuvira as the great uniter, bringing order back to the Earth Kingdom, while others see her as someone forcing people under her control. And things get even messier when Kuvira reveals she's engaged to Opal's older brother, Batar Jr.
Your brother and I are getting married.
Isn't that great, sweetie?
I guess family dinner is gonna be pretty awkward. Anyway, Kuvira offers the governor a deal. Sign a contract pledging loyalty to her, and she'll provide protection and supplies for his people. The governor refuses, accusing her of manipulating vulnerable states just to expand her power. Later that day, bandits steal the little food Kai and Opal managed to gather for the town. No other options left, the governor finally gives in and signs Kuvira's contract. Kuvira's forces immediately distribute food and resources, while Kuvira gives a big speech announcing the state is now officially under her protection. Back at Air Temple Island, everyone's excitedly waiting for Korra to arrive. When the ship from the south arrives, everyone rushes to meet her, except Korra's not there. Only Tonraq and Naga arrive. Tenzin asks where Korra is, but Tonraq gets confused because apparently she left for Republic City 6 months ago, has been sending him letters from there ever since. Tenzin assures her that she cannot be in the city, but where is she? Well, at the very end, we finally see her fighting an underground match in what looks like an illegal earthbending match and losing. But after everything she went through last season, I'm just glad she's still standing.
You kind of look like that Avatar girl.
I get that a lot.
Where the hell are you, Korra? The episode begins right after Korra loses the underground fight. She walks through the streets, she suddenly sees a reflection of herself in the Avatar state, from the days Zahir poisoned her. From there, we flash back to when Korra first left Republic City for the South Pole to recover. Everyone gathered to say goodbye, and Bolin especially promised he'd keep writing to her. Korra assured them she'll only be gone for a few weeks, but those weeks slowly turned into months. As her condition kept getting worse, Korra's parents take her to Katara, who explains that the poison caused serious internal damage, and healing will take time, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Korra can't even enter the Avatar state anymore, which frustrates her even more. And while she's struggling just to walk again, letters from her friends keep arriving showing how much their lives are moving forward without her. Bolin writes about joining Kuvira's army. Mako talks about becoming a detective, and Asami shares how she's redesigning Republic City's infrastructure. Meanwhile, Korra can barely stand on her own. Eventually, all the pressure gets to her, and she snaps at Katara.
Well, I'm stuck with you, and you can't even heal me!
But Katara stays calm, encourages her to try again, this time with her eyes closed. She tells Korra to imagine herself walking before taking the step. And finally, Korra manages to walk toward Naga on her own. Sometime later, Tenzin visits her and Korra genuinely seems to be improving. She even takes him to watch her sparring match. But in the middle of the fight, the memories of Zahir attack her again, and Korra completely freezes up. Afterward, Korra decides she wants to leave the South Pole and head back to Republic City, believing maybe a fresh start will help her recover fully. Except, Korra never actually goes back to Republic City. Instead, she spends years wandering alone across the world, traveling from town to town while constantly being haunted by visions of her poisoned Avatar state self. No matter where she goes, she can't escape it. Eventually, she cuts her hair and changes her appearance just to avoid being recognized as the Avatar. During her travels, she ends up fighting in underground earthbending matches, which brings us back to the start of the episode where she loses pretty badly. After the fight, Korra notices a small dog barking at the dark Avatar version of herself till it suddenly disappears. She follows the dog into a swamp where it transforms into a spirit and tells her that Korra will meet someone she needs here. But before she can process any of this, the dark Avatar version of Korra returns and attacks her. Korra tries fighting back, but she's still far too weak and eventually gets knocked unconscious. When she wakes up, an old woman has rescued her and recognizes her as the Avatar. Korra asks how she knew who she was, and the woman casually replies that she used to know Korra in her previous life.
Toph?
Nice to see you again, Twinkle Toes.
What? Toph Beifong? What are you doing living in a swamp? Republic City prepares for Prince Wu's coronation. President Raiko tells Tenzin that reports from the Earth Kingdom are getting worse. Kuvira is forcing states under her control and imprisoning people who refuse to obey. Still, Raiko believes she'll step down once Wu officially becomes king. Meanwhile, Bolin returns to Republic City, and the first person he meets is Eska. Thankfully, she no longer wants to terrorize him, so we're off to a decent start. He reunites with Mako and learns that Korra has been missing for months. At the same time, Su confronts her son, Batar Jr., about joining Kuvira. He insists they've been helping the Earth Kingdom and bringing stability, but Su points out that forcing people to bow to Kuvira isn't exactly helping. Back in the swamp, Korra begs Toph to help her reconnect with the Avatar state, but during the training, Toph completely destroys her.
Of all the avatars I've worked with, you're by far the worst.
Ouch. At the coronation, Prince Wu awards Kuvira the prestigious Kyoshi Medal of Freedom for helping reunite the Earth Kingdom. But instead of accepting the honor, Kuvira grabs the microphone and makes her own speech, like it's her coronation. She announces that the Earth Kingdom is no more, meaning the king has no authority. According to her, kings and queens have failed the people, so she has created a new Earth Empire and will continue leading it herself. And if anyone tries crossing her borders, they're going to be crushed. Tenzin and the rest of the world leaders look at each other in shock as her supporters cheer for her. After her ceremony, Bolin confronts Kuvira about the whole Earth Empire thing that came out as a surprise for him. But Kuvira quickly manipulates him by saying Wu would have been a terrible king anyway, and reassures him she's only trying to protect the people. Somehow, Bolin buys it. Su later meets Kuvira on behalf of the world leaders and demands she step down immediately. Kuvira refuses and warns Su that Zaofu will be next if it doesn't join the Empire willingly. Meanwhile, Mako and Bolin end up arguing over Kuvira too, eventually leading Bolin to storm off. Back in the swamps, Toph tells Korra how much she enjoyed beating her up. She also tells her she can sense pieces of metal poison still flowing in her blood. Korra assumes that's why she still feels weak and asks Toph to remove it, but when Toph tries, Korra subconsciously resists the process. Frustrated, Toph gives up, tells Korra maybe part of her doesn't want to heal, because staying broken gives her an excuse to avoid being the Avatar again. Toph really does not believe in soft parenting. But at the end of the episode, Tenzin realizes the world situation is getting worse fast and gives Jinora, Ikki, and Milo one very important mission: find Korra.
You can count on one of us. I don't know about these two ladies.
3 years later, Milo is still pretty full of himself. Jinora, Ikki, and Milo head out across the Earth Kingdom to search for Korra. They travel from town to town, but Jinora can't sense Korra's spiritual energy anywhere. Meanwhile, Milo fully believes he is leading the mission and keeps showing Korra's picture to random people who either haven't seen her or barely even remember the Avatar exists anymore. Meanwhile, back in the swamp, Toph tells Korra there's no training today and sends her out to collect mushrooms for dinner. Deep in the swamp, Korra is suddenly overwhelmed by visions from her past. Amon taking her bending, Unalaq ripping rocks rava out of her, and Zahir poisoning her. When she finally snaps out of it, Toph is there waiting for her. And this time, instead of insults, she's got some genuine advice for her. Toph explains that Korra's been holding on to those painful memories long after they stopped helping her grow. Instead of letting them control her, she needs to learn from them, move on. But Korra asks the obvious question: how?
Get up. We're going to the Banyan Grove tree.
Back with Tenzin's minions, Milo throws away the food Pema packed for them, saying from now on they will hunt for food. Iki corrects him that they are vegetarians. Genius. And gets furious. Soon the siblings start fighting again while Jinora tries meditating through the chaos. While Milo storms off on his hunt, Iki also leaves to wander into the woods. However, she's soon captured by Kuvira's soldiers. At first they consider kidnapping all 3 kids and turning them over to Kuvira for a promotion, but Iki surprisingly manages to bond with them by talking about what it feels like to be left out. During the conversation, she learns that Kuvira is preparing to take Zaofu, the last major city refusing to join the Earth Empire. The soldiers also mention that the swamp is the only unguarded place in the entire Earth Kingdom, and immediately Iki realizes Korra might be hiding there. Soon, Jinora and Milo rescue Iki, and despite not believing Korra would ever stay in a place like the swamp, they decide to check it out. Jinora still can't sense Korra spiritually, and just as they're about to leave, the swamp vines suddenly drag their sky bison down into the swamp. Meanwhile, Toph shares with Korra that the roots of the Banyan Grove tree are spread in every direction of the swamp, connecting it with everything. The reason she brought her here is that Korra's been disconnected with everything for so long. More importantly, she's been disconnected from herself. Korra tries to spiritually connect with the tree, and it works. The connection leads her straight to Tenzin's kids. Now, that's progress. Jinora instantly feels the energy and makes her way to Korra. The kids rush to hug her, and okay, maybe I'm tearing up a little. Okay, maybe I'm tearing up a little bit more than a little. Korra introduces the kids to Toph as Aang and Katara's grandchildren.
Old, blind? You must be Toph.
Oh, I like this one.
Yeah, we all like this one. Jinora proceeds to tell Korra about Kuvira and urges her to come back to the city. Back in Toph's cave, Toph makes Korra metal bend the poison out of her body, and the moment it's out, she enters the Avatar state again. Yeah, we're back, baby. Kuvira and her army arrive outside Zaofu, the last major city refusing to join the Earth Empire. And knowing what's about to happen, Korra heads there too. Meanwhile, Varric is busy working on a dangerous new experiment for Kuvira, extracting energy from spirit vines to create a super weapon. But during testing, the whole thing nearly kills both him and Zhu Li. Horrified, Varric immediately tells Zhu Li to shut the project down because he can't let a weapon like this fall into the wrong hands. Apparently, there's now a voice in his head telling him to care about others.
And there's this nagging voice in my head constantly telling me what's right from wrong.
That's some insane character development. Wow. Kuvira, however, does not appreciate the sudden conscience and orders Varric to finish the weapon or face the consequences. At the same time, she continues manipulating Bolin by telling him he's now part of her inner circle because of how loyal he's been. She asks him to speak with Su and convince Zaofu to peacefully join the Empire. But once Bolin actually sees Kuvira's massive army surrounding the city like a full-on war zone, he finally starts to question things. Inside Zaofu, Su immediately refuses Kuvira's demands and orders her to leave. Bolin desperately tries playing peacemaker between everybody, but Opal finally tells him the truth about what Kuvira actually does to the states she helps.
Citizens are forced to work as slave labor. Dissenters are sent off to who knows where.
Bolin realizes he actually never once went back to check what happened to those cities afterward. After Su's refusal, Kuvira gives Zaofu an ultimatum. Korra finally arrives in Zaofu, where Su explains how Kuvira rose to power in the first place. After the Earth Queen died and the kingdom collapsed into chaos, President Raiko and Tenzin originally asked Su to lead the Earth Kingdom, but Su refused. Kuvira, however, stepped up immediately. She took Batar Jr., Varric, and several other people from Zaofu with her and slowly rebuilt the Earth Kingdom state by state. After she managed to bring some stability to the kingdom, the president made her the provisional head of the Earth Kingdom until the next monarch was crowned. Only now she has no intention of giving that power back. Meanwhile, Bolin finally tries to talk to Kuvira about threatening Zaofu and suggests maybe she's going a little too far. Kuvira immediately threatens to throw him into one of her re-education camps as well, so he backs off, pretending he's still on her side. Later, he goes to Varric, and the two finally reach the same conclusion.
Kuvira's crazy!
Meanwhile, Korra meets Kuvira, hoping to talk her out of invading Zaofu, but Kuvira expertly flips the conversation around, reminding Korra that while the Avatar was gone recovering, she was the one rebuilding the Earth Kingdom. Kuvira convinces Korra to talk Su into surrendering peacefully to avoid a war. Korra reluctantly agrees and heads back to Zaofu, only to discover Su already left with her sons to attack Kuvira's camp herself. At the same time, Bolin and Varric try escaping the camp, but Kuvira catches them immediately. She orders Bolin thrown onto a prison train while forcing Varric to continue building the spirit weapon. And then somehow, things get even crazier. Zhu Li switches sides and pledges loyalty to Kuvira. Yeah, did not see that one coming. Su and her son secretly try attacking Kuvira's camp at night, but Kuvira was fully expecting it and captures them almost immediately. The next day, Korra, Jinora, and Opal meet Kuvira to negotiate on Zaofu's behalf. Since Su broke the peace truce first, Kuvira claims she now has every right to take the city by force. Korra tries convincing her to settle this peacefully, but Kuvira refuses to release Su or back down from taking Zaofu. So Korra is left with only one option: fight her. Kuvira agrees to settle things one-on-one without involving her army. Whoever wins gets Zaofu, and unfortunately, Kuvira wins. Even after removing the poison, Korra still struggles to fully connect with the Avatar state, and Kuvira completely overwhelms her in the fight. Jinora and Opal are eventually forced to intervene, while Kuvira orders her troops to attack. Thankfully, Iki and Milo arrive just in time on their Sky Bison and rescue Korra before things get worse. As Korra escapes, Kuvira officially declares Zaofu part of the Earth Empire. Meanwhile, Bolin and Varric are being transported back to re-education camps. Batar Jr. forces Varric to continue building the spirit weapon, but Varric cleverly asks for Bolin as his assistant. Instead of fixing the weapon, Varric rigs the weapon to explode.
The bomb that's gonna explode in 5 minutes and destroy this entire train.
He dramatically announces that since Zhu Li betrayed him, he has nothing left to live for anyway. The performance really deserves an award, but I feel like this man is actually going through a phase without Zhu Li. Batar and the guards panic at abandoning the train, while Bolin realizes that Varric wasn't bluffing about the explosion at all. He barely manages to get both of them off the train before it explodes behind them. Batar assumes they died in the blast, but the two survive.
I can't believe Zhu Li worked for you as long as she did.
Back in Zaofu, Kuvira forces the citizens to publicly pledge loyalty to the Earth Kingdom. Anybody who refuses gets imprisoned. Su and her family refuse immediately and are taken away by the guards. Korra finally returns to Republic City, where she reunites with Naga and Tenzin after so much time away. But there's barely time to enjoy it because the situation with Kuvira is getting worse by the day. Korra admits she thought she had recovered, but after losing to Kuvira, she feels like a failure all over again. Tenzin reassures her that she doesn't have to face this alone anymore, and they'll deal with Kuvira together. Meanwhile, Bumi asks Opal about Bolin, and she tells him what Kuvira told her. Bolin is still working with her. But little does she know, Kuvira lied, and Bolin is currently a fugitive along with Varric.
How about you use your own legs for a while?
Oh, Bolin, you're in for a treat. Later, Korra meets up with Mako and Asami at a restaurant where Prince Wu, of course, inserts himself into the group like he's part of Team Avatar the whole time. Asami reveals she's been visiting her father in prison and thinks she might finally be ready to forgive him. Korra questions whether Hiroshi might still be manipulating her, which understandably upsets Asami a little. Right after that, Wu steps away for a bathroom break and instantly gets kidnapped. The one time, Mako lets him go alone. Korra, Mako, and Asami chase after the kidnappers, but lose them. However, Korra uses the swamp connection technique Toph taught her to locate Wu and the train station. When they find him, Kuvira's soldiers attack, but the group manages to escape with Wu safely. Afterward, Korra apologizes to Asami for earlier, and the three finally make up, sharing a long overdue hug. No, it's just like old times. To keep Wu safe from Kuvira, Mako hides him with his family at the old Sato mansion, where Asami has been letting them stay after losing their home. Meanwhile, Bolin and Varric run into a group of escaped prisoners fleeing one of Kuvira's re-education camps. Feeling guilty for helping Kuvira for so long, Bolin decides to help them escape the Earth Empire. Together, they take down the guards at the border and successfully escape by boat toward the north. At the very end, Kuvira and Batar Jr. arrive at the Banyan Grove swamp to harvest more spirit vines for their weapon. Ooh, Toph is gonna be so mad. Alright, so this episode was basically all about, Remembrance. Prince Wu, after being kidnapped, realizes that he's a weakling after all. Late discovery, I know. Anyway, he asks Mako to make him all tough like him. Oh, and guys, Mako got a new undershirt. Finally, someone's moving up in the world. During the training, Wu realizes he actually knows nothing about Mako and his life, or his love life. So Mako takes Wu down his memory lane of, how he met Korra one day at a pro bending match and instantly realized that he liked her. But then he met Asami and fell for her as well. And then Korra confessed her feelings to him, but he turned her down because, he's dating Asami. But then, did not stop himself from kissing Korra, and Korra went missing, and Mako went all, oh no. Then she came back, and Mako realized that he actually loved her, so he broke up with Asami and then confessed his love to Korra. Then they started dating, but then they started fighting, so he broke up with Korra, and then Korra went missing again, and somehow he kissed Asami twice, but nothing was official, so I guess it's okay. And then when Korra came back, she had no memory of their breakup, so she kissed Mako again, and then finally he mustered up the courage to break up with Korra, and then he has just been focusing on himself and his work. On the other hand, Korra also recalls everything bad that has happened in her life with Amon taking her bending, Unalaq killing Rava, Zahir poisoning her. Well, Asami puts some light on all the good things that happened after those bad things, like Korra defeating Amon and general elections being held in Republic City, Korra leaving the spirit portal open, and the Air Nation coming to life again. Tenzin overhears the conversation, also helps to encourage Korra to focus on everything that she's learned so far from these experiences. Literally, the same advice that everybody's been giving her, but she's just too stubborn to let it go. Lastly, in the boat to the north, Varric shares the idea of a new mover featuring Bolin. Basically, the story will feature Bolin replacing Korra in every battle that Korra has won, because as Varric says, never let the truth get in the way of a good story. As Kuvira's forces continue cutting spirit vines from the swamp, the vines inside Republic City suddenly start attacking people in the spirit wilds. At the same time, Opal grows increasingly frustrated that nobody seems willing to rescue her family from Zaofu. Korra assures her they'll figure something out soon. Jinora senses something spiritually wrong in the wilds and takes Korra to investigate. When they arrive, the entire area is empty. Even the spirits are gone. Korra connects with the vines spiritually, and they show her visions of what Kuvira's forces are doing in the swamp. Jinora stays behind to search for missing tourists, while Korra and Opal head to President Raiko, hoping this spirit vine disaster will finally convince the world leaders to unite against Kuvira. But when Korra arrives, a world leaders meeting is already happening without her.
We just thought perhaps we called you back into action a little too soon.
Huh? Even Prince Wu got invited. Anyway, Raiko suggests attacking Kuvira directly, but Tenzin and Fire Lord Izumi refuse to drag their nations into another war. Right then, Bolin and Varric burst into the meeting and reveal Kuvira is secretly building a terrifying Spirit Vine superweapon. Somehow, after hearing all of this, the world leaders still decide to stay defensive instead of taking action. Lin's furious. She tells Opal they'll rescue their family from Zaofu themselves if they have to. Bolin apologizes to Mako for everything, and desperate to make things right with Opal, joins their mission too. Meanwhile, Raiko calls Asami and Varric into his office. First things first, makes it very clear he never liked Varric.
Especially after you tried to have me kidnapped.
Allegedly.
Classic Varric. Raiko then gives them an important assignment. If Kuvira is building a spirit weapon, he wants the two smartest inventors in Republic City to build something capable of defending against it. Asami agrees, after making it very clear that if Varric betrays her again, she will personally end him. Back in the spirit wilds, the vines suddenly attack Jinora and drag her away. Before disappearing, she manages to send Korra a spiritual message asking for help. Korra and Mako rush back but can't find Jinora anywhere. Eventually, they discover the missing tourists unconscious with their spirits trapped inside the spirit world. Korra tries meditating to enter the spirit world and save them, but the moment she closes her eyes, she relives Zahir poisoning her all over again. So she makes a huge decision. She wants to face Zahir directly. Tenzin strongly opposes the idea, but Korra insists this is the only way she'll overcome her fear and save Jinora. Eventually, Tenzin tells her where Zahir is imprisoned. Korra and Mako travel to the prison, where she finally confronts Zahir face to face.
I will no longer be scared of you.
I guess she still has a long way to go. Korra blames Zahir for everything. She tells him his actions led to the Earth Queen's death and gave rise to a new dictator that is Kuvira. And thanks to him, she can't even enter her avatar state to defend the innocent people. This makes Zahir realize he's taken some wrong steps. He tells Korra he will help her get into the spirit world. As Korra meditates, these same terrifying visions return. But Zahir tells her to stop fighting them and accept what happened to her instead. Korra fully relives the moment Zahir nearly killed her. Instead of running from it, she faces it head on. With that, she successfully enters the spirit world. Once inside, Rava's spirit awakens within her again and helps her find Jinora and the trapped spirits. Wow, finally. Turns out Korra's biggest enemy this whole time wasn't Zahir at all. It was her refusal to accept the trauma he left behind. And once she finally faced it instead of running from it, everything became easier. Meanwhile, Bolin, Opal, and Lin secretly head towards Zaofu to rescue their family. Lin, Opal, Bolin, and the others arrive outside Zaofu and start planning how to break into Kuvira's heavily guarded territory when suddenly Toph Beifong shows up and informs them that the prisoners have already been moved.
Hey, Chief.
Yeah, that's how to greet the mother you last saw 20 years ago. Of course, Bolin completely loses his mind after meeting Toph. He's even more excited than when he met Zuko. Toph explains the prisoners are transferred to a nearby camp, and Bolin knows exactly where they might be. Meanwhile, back in Republic City, Asami and Varric present President Raiko with their prototype hummingbird mecha suits. But Raiko wants something stronger. He wants a spirit vine weapon just like Kuvira's. Varric immediately refuses, and Korra backs him up, saying that the spirit vines are already unstable enough. Shockingly, Prince Wu actually says something useful for once and suggests evacuating the city. Back at Kuvira's camp, Batar Jr. prepares another test of the spirit weapon with Zhu Li, but the test fails after a critical component cracks. While everyone scrambles to fix the issue, Kuvira questions Zhu Li directly about whether everything is under control, and Toph immediately senses Zhu Li is lying, meaning she never actually betrayed Varric. That is a plot twist. The group decides to attack during the next weapon test, while Kuvira's forces are distracted. The next day, Lin and the others successfully infiltrate the camp and rescue Sue and the rest of the family. Only one guard spots them escaping, and everything immediately goes downhill. At the same time, Zhu Li sabotages Kuvira's weapon test by removing an important part from the machine, but Kuvira catches her instantly and decides to punish her in the most terrifying way possible by leaving her in the exact town the spirit weapon is about to destroy. Bolin refuses to leave Zhu Li behind, and Opal joins him to rescue her while Lin and Sue attack Kuvira directly in an attempt to destroy the weapon, which obviously fails. Bolin, Opal, and Zhu Li barely survive the spirit cannon blast, while Toph swoops in to save Lin and Sue from getting cooked alive by Kuvira's forces. suits. Somehow, everybody manages to escape just before the camp fully collapses into madness. By the end, Lin and Toph are able to work through years of unresolved issues, with Toph apologizing in her own twisted way for the pain she unintentionally might have caused Lin before heading back into the swamp. With that, everyone returns to Republic City for the war that is clearly coming. Back in Republic City, Sue and the others explain everything that happened at Zaofu, while Zhu Li reveals her undercover mission inside Kuvira's army. She also overheard that Kuvira plans to attack Republic City in 2 weeks. President Raiko immediately orders a full evacuation and calls in the United Forces. Lin suggests destroying the railway lines leading into the city so Kuvira can't transport the spirit weapon there. Meanwhile, Asami and Varric are ordered to mass-produce the Hummingbird mecha suits as quickly as possible. But Lin reunites Varric with Zhu Li. She apologizes for everything she said to Varric and confesses that he actually means a lot to her.
Apology accepted!
If you want me around, you need to start treating me like an equal.
He definitely deserved that one. Meanwhile, Mako takes over the city broadcast and tells everybody to evacuate as the attack on them is imminent. Basically ends up freaking people out. Prince Wu replaces him and calmly asks everybody the same thing in his own style, and somehow that works. Now, I'm thinking he might not be the worst king after all. Pema also teams up with Wu and helps him in evacuating the citizens. Korra and Team Avatar leave the city, hoping to destroy Kuvira's weapon before it even comes close to the city, only to discover something much worse. A. Kuvira's already here, and B. She's not using a train to transport the weapon. Instead, she built a giant mecha tank around it. That's walking up to the city. Kuvira spots the sky bison scouting from above and immediately fires at them. Korra and the others barely escape and rush back to warn the city that Kuvira has already arrived, a full week earlier than expected. General Iroh prepares the city defenses while the others head to Asami's factory to finish preparing the mecha suits. Meanwhile, Raiko tries ordering Kuvira to stand down, but the second Kuvira fires the spirit cannon into the city and starts destroying entire blocks instantly, Raiko has no choice left but to surrender. Kuvira orders the Avatar and everyone else to surrender, but Korra manages to escape and regroup with the others at Asami's factory. There, the team comes up with a new plan. Capture Batar Jr. Since he designed the giant mecha tank, he's probably the only person who knows how to stop it. The group secretly intercepts his airship while he's on his way to deliver Kuvira's surrender terms to President Raiko. They successfully kidnap him without alerting the Empire forces, but he refuses to help. This is when Korra plays her final card. She tells Batar that if he refuses to stop Kuvira, she'll take him far away from the battle, and he'll never see Kuvira again. And, well, this man is deeply in love. He radios Kuvira, begs her to stop the attack, telling her he's been taken hostage and the Avatar won't release him unless the Empire backs down and leaves Republic City. Kuvira calmly tells him she loves him too, and agrees to back down. The second she traces the radio signal's location, she fires the spirit cannon directly at them. Yeah, she knowingly took the shot, even though her own fiancé was right there. Bolin barely manages to get everyone out of the factory alive after Kuvira fires at them. He suggests abandoning the city for now and attacking later when Kuvira lets her guard down. Bolin and Korra refuse to back off. If they're stopping Kuvira, it's happening now. The group regroups at Asami's office where a few Hummingbird mecha suits are still being repaired. Asami, Varric, and Zhu Li work on getting them operational while the others buy time against Kuvira's giant mech. Meanwhile, Varric comes up with a new idea. He and Zhu Li climb one of the city towers and create a massive electromagnetic pulse that shuts down Kuvira's smaller mecha tanks. And while they're up there, Varric almost confesses his feelings to Zhu Li before Kuvira starts marching straight toward the building and ruins the moment. At the same time, Batar Jr. finally wakes up and realizes Kuvira didn't hesitate for even a second to blow him up. He tells everyone that the giant mech is powered by Spirit Vine energy and can only be stopped from the inside by shutting down its energy source. So Lin temporarily releases Hiroshi Sato from prison to help Asami and Varric. Hiroshi suggests fitting plasma saws onto the Hummingbird suits so they can cut their way into the mech. Whatever this man did in the past, he's genuinely trying to make up for it now. Meanwhile, Pema and Prince Wu evacuate the remaining civilians. Since Kuvira destroyed the train tracks, Wu comes up with an unexpectedly genius plan, using badger molds to dig tunnels underneath the city so people can escape safely underground. Korra and the others head out to stall Kuvira while the Hummingbird suits are finished. Back at the factory, Asami finally reconciles with their father and Hiroshi tells her he truly loves her. At the same time, Varric realizes there's a very real chance they might not survive this battle, so he finally confesses to Zhu Li and straight up proposes to her.
Will you do the thing for the rest of our lives?
Now, I did not see that coming. But am I happy? Yes, of course. With the suits ready, the team launches their attack on Kuvira's giant mech. Korra freezes Kuvira in place long enough for the Hummingbird suits to cut into the armor, but Kuvira breaks free and attacks Asami and Hiroshi directly. Hiroshi ejects Asami from the suit just in time, but he sacrifices himself to finish cutting open the mech. No way, they just made up. Asami watches her father die, saving the city, while Korra and the others finally break into the mech itself. Inside the tank, the team splits up. Mako and Bolin head for the engine room to shut the mech down, Lin and Sue go after the spirit cannon, and Korra makes her way to the top for a final one-on-one against Kuvira. While Lin fights off the guards, Sue successfully disables the cannon controls, stopping Kuvira from using the weapon. Furious, Kuvira literally rips the entire arm off of the mech and throws both Lin and Sue out of the machine. Meanwhile, Mako and Bolin fight their way into the engine room and finally reach the controls, only to realize turning the system off normally does absolutely nothing. But after spending so much time around Varric and Batar, Bolin figures out the only way to stop the spirit core is to overload it with enough energy to make the whole thing explode. Meanwhile, at the top of the mech, Korra fights Kuvira again. This time, it's completely different. Korra's no longer scared, broken, or holding herself back. She completely overwhelms Kuvira. Mako makes the tough decision of being the source of energy for the explosion. Bolin tries to talk him out of it, but you know how that goes. He tells Bolin to leave, starts doing his thing. As the vines get the overdose of energy, they start to explode, injuring Mako severely. Bolin comes back to rescue him and gets him out of the room in time as the tank explodes in half. Korra rescues Kuvira from the rubble, tells her to stop, but even after everything, she still refuses to surrender. Kuvira runs straight into the spirit wiles and grabs the spirit cannon for one final attack. The moment Korra catches up to her, Kuvira fires the weapon directly at her. Korra dodges the blast, but Kuvira loses control of the cannon and is seconds away from getting killed by her own attack. Despite everything, Korra still chooses to save her. Korra shields Kuvira, and the collision between the spirit cannon's energy, the spirit vines, and Korra's avatar energy creates a massive purple explosion. But instead of destroying the city, it tears open a brand new spirit portal right in the middle of Republic City. Yeah, Raiko's gonna lose his mind. Korra and Kuvira wake up inside the spirit world, where Korra tells her that she reminds her of her old self, stubborn, controlling, and convinced that she alone knew what was best for everybody. Kuvira admits she only wanted to protect people, didn't want them to feel abandoned like she once felt. But somewhere along the way, she went too far. When they return from the spirit world, Kuvira finally surrenders herself, and the battle finally comes to an end. After all the destruction and madness, everyone gathers to celebrate the wedding of Varric and Zhu Li, officiated by Mr. Bolin and Mr. Pabu themselves.
You may now do the thing.
At the after party, everybody finally gets a chance to breathe and celebrate. Prince Wu announces that he's officially ending the Earth Kingdom monarchy and wants each state to elect its own leaders instead. Also, he's pursuing a singing career. Okay. Later that night, Korra steps outside and Tenzin joins her. He tells her how proud he is of everything she's overcome and everything she's done for the world. At last, Korra apologizes to Asami for disappearing for so long and for leaving her alone. The two of them then decide to take a vacation together into the spirit world, since Asami has never been there before. And with Korra and Asami walking hand in hand into the spirit world, the Legend of Korra finally comes to an end. I hope you all enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed recapping it. A lot of us, this wasn't just a show. It's a huge part of our childhood. If you want to relive another legendary story with me, click on the next video. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. See ya.